Calypso, there's a lot of these like towers. Most structures seem to only be 1 or 2 stories, and then they'll have another structure that's roughly 8 to 10 stories tall. And you occasionally saw some ships that were being constructed in various places. All these airships. The airships themselves seem to be powered by hot air, propeller, or you see these large blue crystals that exist leaning off of other ones that are you've seen kind of moving around. You haven't seen a ton of them coming in or out necessarily of the city. Other things for a fact on the city is the city itself makes up the entire Earth mode that you're on, so you can actually see the curvature of the ground as you go around it. Given a day, you think you could probably actually just walk in a full circle and see the city, where you guys have really only been in one place the whole time. Other notes that you had is that there is no changing of night and day. It is just always light out from some unseen source. Just there's blue skies everywhere you look, everywhere you go. You see colors change, like clouds that don't change colors, but they are all sorts of colors from reds to pinks, blues, white, just kind of drifting in the distance. And occasionally the mode itself that you're on kind of travels through a cloud, and it creates almost like a fog-like effect on the ground, or throughout it. You know, you lose some visibility shortly after the mode passes out of the cloud. What do you think? Yeah, you were instructed that without a fly speed, you just kind of drift and are picked up. However, anything that's about as large as like a building, like a one-room building, tends to have its own kind of gravity to where you could potentially stay connected to it, give it enough, or else you would leave that and begin to drift into nothingness. And then picked up by the Labyrinth Wind. So you guys went and scouted a couple things, some options to buy. You did buy a flying carpet, was one of the things you purchased.
I want to understand the science behind this place. I know it's not going to happen, but like,
I have a broom.
What is happening?
Yeah. So currently, and even now, the waitlist, you're essentially weightless because there's nothing. However, you're connected to this mode which does have gravity, so you feel normal, but you still even now feel like it's easier to move, easier to walk around. There's a lightness in your step. It doesn't affect anything because you're not necessarily used to it, but you gather it's just one of the
People
parts
just
of
live
being
here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You've noticed there's a few different races that seem to be similar to things that would exist in the material plane, but over the course of evolution and time, or just magical adaptation, they've changed. Where you've seen some gnomes that seem to have some levitation properties as they were working on airships. You saw what looked to be like a mouse, like almost like a rat that had like these leathery wings. That was kind
crawling
of chasing
on the city streets.
Yeah, moving on the city streets.
So they farm here too? Like, I've got there's
Things-
so many questions.
Things are made of like cloud material.
Yeah, there's a substance which will come into as cloudstone. I'll just call it what it is. But the building you initially went into, as they would approach certain doors and areas, the stone around it would look to be and feels like stone for all intents and purposes. However, it can reshift. It potentially turns into a cloud-like material and will reform into doorways and other things. Unsure how to manipulate that sort of stuff. It's something you've seen.
There's not a lot of like ore up here. Like metal is very hard to come by.
I could see that.
Yeah. So most substances are either magically brought in, made of wood, or made of this cloudstone material that you've seen. But again, the cloudstone takes on the shape of, and as you travel through, you guys saw it be anything from wooden door frames to stone to whatever. So however that material actually works, it's generating this thing. So the ships themselves, the city you're in is run by 3 major guilds. It's run by a mages guild, which is where you entered from. However, they're very shut off. And when you left, you only had pretty much a code that allowed you to get to and from the portal to the material plane that you entered from. And then there's a thieves guild, which you've had no real interactions with, but they seem to be pretty well on the open, as the city is run by pirates. It's a pirate haven, where the leaders, which is they are called.
Which ones are you looking for?
The name of the leaders of the city.
Well, I just have pirates, thieves, shipwright.
Yeah.
3 guilds.
The city itself is run by a cabal of about 12 pirate captains who got together and decided this port would be, this mode would be a safe haven for it. So it comes with all the rough housing and stuff that is there. However, there will be no act of piracy between pirate ships and vessels while docked in here. That's the one. It's literally called.
There's a lot of stuff to. There's a lot of other stuff to pirate from in the sky.
It's an entire plane, so. Like I said, there's
Okay,
random
yeah,
floating
yeah.
land masses. We've only been on this one.
Yeah. So
Weird
There are
place.
genies here.
There's genies.
Yeah, the djinn.
they are seemingly
This just
the
keeps
natives
getting
to
weirder
this.
and weirder. What's the fireplace gonna be like? You know, you gotta wonder. Like,
Yeah.
Hot
Um,
lava rocks.
the genies are natives to the plane. From what you could tell so far, they helped with they work in hand with the mages guild, and you've seen some like patrolling the streets, though they didn't necessarily seem to be law keepers as much as just powerful things that are around kind of frequently, making this place their home. I think if there's any other.
Diana Moonlight is the name of the guardian on our plane for the air place. That's her name.
Yeah, she would be.
And-
She's the arc druid of the Tempest.
Yep. And if we, although what I think I gathered, she said a phrase that we could use is called "We travel in moonlight," but I think that was just to get passage through the Mages Guild. I don't necessarily know if that's going to do anything else for us up here. But if somebody asks how you travel, you could say we travel in moonlight, and hopefully that would be beneficial.
so is what we're doing up here secret to most?
Yeah, we shouldn't talk about that. The
I didn't
portals
think
need help, but like like I said, Trogo already brought up that we're trying to seek out the what's his name, the Elder Tempest.
Rayquaza.
Yeah, Rayquaza. The
I didn't
Elder
realize
Tempest.
it, but the image of the thing that you guys are looking for, borderline. I can see it.
Okay.
I see some Rayquaza in there.
Definitely.
Like a blue Rayquaza. Dark blue Rayquaza.
I think they pull from all the same
Lores, yeah. I'm sure. So, essentially now your current state of affairs is you have gone and found some abilities to fly should you need to, but the overwhelming thought pattern is to find a captain and barter way onto their ship. Trogo has talked to one captain.
Actually, I have that written down.
A half-orc commander who is running a warship. I'm sorry, let me say this as well. Where you currently are, the inn you stay in is about 8 stories tall. There are currently 4 airships docked to it. You were told that the largest airship is
Thunder Chaser.
the Thunder Chaser, which is piloted or is owned by the captain Bloodletter, who is a half-orc, who essentially runs one of the largest warships, and I don't remember how much information I gave you about the ship. He said, though, if you guys wish to travel with him, he has room. You'll have to earn your keep being on the ship. However, it is to just to be aware, and you'll know when we dock. And they're taking up their denizens of the ship. The crew of the ship are made up of his elite crew, which you guys found sitting with him. And then everyone else seems to be scattered about and roughhousing in the main floors of this tavern. The tavern itself on the interior is made up of about 8 stories and an open column in the middle where there's just nothing. And then you can kind of fly within it up and down to the various different levels, as well as there is a stairwell. They make up bars and rooms and some other stuff. So
The name of the inn's the Golden Serpent.
Just a thing. I don't know what the thing we're looking for is actually called though.
Elder Tempest.
Elder Tempest.
Rayquaza.
And that's when, from this captain, is who you guys found out that he thinks that the Elder Tempest is superstition, but like everything on this plane, because it's always in a constant state of motion, there's no real direction. Finding anything or getting anywhere is pretty much happenstance. You more take to the winds. Experienced navigators can tell based on the rotation and based on movement patterns that have existed where anything might be at a given time, but it's always
No stars.
moving. Nothing. Never night, never anything. And the winds that change within there, yeah.
That's gotta make navigation real hard.
Yeah, I bet you if you can
Oh,
break that, you
man.
just became the richest person up here.
And it works out because you just don't know where you're going anyway. You just take to the winds and hope you get there.
I guess. And then now
I mean,
piracy.
To be honest, we don't need a ship. I just figured that'd be. We kind of think that would be the safest bet. For one, they might know how to travel to certain places, or at least they would know what they're looking for. If we say take it to the Prismatic Order, and also we don't know what we're going to encounter in the winds.
And ships also have the ability to navigate off of labyrinth winds. So, like, if you were traveling on just carpet or just flying, depending on the strength of the wind, you could just be swept away by the wind without any say or direction. Moving, you can move through the wind. It's at a reduced rate of speed, and eventually, but that could take you way far out. It could take you various different things. As you guys learned, the ships that have the blue crystals to them have the ability to kind of create a field of magic around the ships that allow them to adjust how much their ship's being affected by the winds. Though they're kind of expensive. So
Yeah, we were interested. There was a jetpack essentially you could get that gave you that feature, allowed you just to fly around on this jetpack, but it costed like
15 grand,
yeah.
and they only had one at a time.
Oh, that's a bummer. I mean, we could have afforded it. Well,
No,
That's not-
I don't think I've updated it.
No,
We
so
should probably
two
go
things I
over
meant to
that
say.
later.
The other thing we'll have to update for you as well is you need to create a tab on there for
The armory.
the armory, so that I know what you guys actually have in the bag of holding with you. You guys know what you left behind at the school, and then everyone
Well, I got a
else.
tab on here that I call it's the main party tab, but there's like
To
an
me,
extra
that's been
gold
like the
thing.
bag of holding.
Well, yeah, no, it has. Well, it's like everything now. We need another tab.
Yeah. So, and we could sort that out here in a little bit. There is
we
another-
gotta figure out gold numbers too, because I never deducted or added what we spent because last I was here, we talked about a lot of
expansion stuff.
expansion stuff, and I don't remember what the total ended up. I don't know if we ever got the total on that,
I do have all that. I have all that information.
because I still have us at 30.
You guys are generating at this point just about 60 grand a month from the town after expenses. It cost you a bit to do what you were doing, but again, contemplating how long things have gone, you guys have essentially expedited like quite a bit. You dumped a lot back into the town gold wise. So that's where that is at the moment.
Yeah, no, we can we can figure the numbers out.
I
later.
started mapping the town a little bit. I was drawing it by hand, but it's being a pain. Cause like I found a cool way to do it. Let me see if I have some of my first one. This is the one I'm using. Nope. Yeah, this is the first design I'd come up with very little. This isn't the last one I did. This is the first one. I have a second one that's on a different paper I was using, but like just like the gist of it. I'm
Yeah,
trying to,
no,
like-
that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
And that's legit. You guys see it?
No.
I don't know. I don't know if you showed last week.
No, I didn't. I did that a couple weeks ago when we were last doing the school stuff, but I never got a chance to really.
What's behind the school? So that's just like
the
forest.
forest?
Okay.
The kind of
okay.
faint outline is the forest.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll figure out the rest of it.
Yeah, and we got to build it in Minecraft.
Dude, I spent a whole like 15 hours. I printed off blueprints to Hogwarts, converted the units to blocks. Like I measured the walls and converted it to like a block unit, and then just started making. I made a 2-block high layout of Hogwarts and Minecraft. That was a long time ago.
But I never got into Minecraft, to be honest, because I just like.
I was leaving for a vacation the next day or something, so like I was staying up all night so I could sleep in the car.
I'd rather do a whole bunch of other things than that, though.
I made the Great
Deku.
Deku Tree also. That one I finished. That one was cool.
I was saying, I first played Minecraft when it was like still in
What's the
alpha and it was
point
just
of
ran
Minecraft?
by the one guy working on it.
Yeah,
Same as
by
playing with
himself.
Legos.
Somebody told me about it and I'm like, okay, I'll download it. Oh,
Oh.
this is cool.
They make
I can
nothing then.
build stone.
Never-
And that's like there was like
never
nothing
knew,
else in the
like,
game.
they
You
had a
just
purpose
fucking
or
mined
anything.
and
Just like
There's a
whatever.
game
And
to
then all of a
it.
sudden I
It's
stopped and then
it's
like
just a
2 or
world
3
that
years
you
later
put
it
together
exploded and
to
was
your
like
Builder.
stuff.
There's a game to it, and now,
on
now
Xbox and
there's
everybody's
been
fucking
more,
played it
there's
and I'm
more
like,
game to it
okay,
than there
I'll
was.
pick it up again.
There's a way to win.
And then it was like,
Okay.
nothing really changed.
Yeah.
You can do
No, but
a
because
couple more
mostly
things.
There's a
survival
lot more
and
stuff you can do later, but
Yeah.
I can't get motivated because you just have to like
For what?
for Minecraft.
It's one of those games that probably be better if you had like a group of people playing.
Yeah.
You guys could just do stupid shit while you set up a base, and then.
Yeah.
But
There's a survival factor to it if you play the game, but
I
It's
know
what it
that.
is.
The only survival game I've ever been able to really get into and really enjoyed was Subnautica.
okay.
That game's awesome. But if you don't, if you're afraid of ocean depths, don't play that game.
okay, you'll be going to the plane of water maybe eventually.
Oh, also, the
That's
plane
cool.
of fire and the plane of earth see eye to eye, but they pretty much don't get along with the plane of air and plane of water, and those two get see eye to eye.
Who? I mean, are they what?
The
so the
planes
planes are fighting
themselves.
each
So
other.
like it's not good to bring up like the fire plane stuff on this plane.
Got it.
They all play a role in shaping, from a Druid standpoint, they all play a role in shaping the world, so they all have their importance, obviously, and they all see that in the world, but at any of the planes leaking too heavily would attempt to wipe out the other planes on the world, thus, I mean, if you got rid of all the Earth, where if the air one got out, made everything storms and everything everywhere, if the water flooded the Earth, if the Earth came, there'd be earthquakes and mountain ranges. If the fire came, everything would be on fire. Any too much of one of them is bad. So,
Yeah.
But ultimately they don't necessarily. These ones don't get along, and it's more like beliefs and things of the sort. The air ones, as you guys kind of know and will find, is more free. Like people are gonna do what they're gonna do. Let them do what they're gonna do. Let them be free. Earth and fire have sometimes not more restrictions. Well, you guys will get into more of that as you guys discover things. So
Weird.
anyway, so we left off.
Don't
You
give
guys
away
were
the whole cow.
in the what?
Don't give away the whole cow.
I know. I get excited because I read all this lore and it's like, I know. I gotta wait.
That's actually how I'm coming. I'm thinking. I'm like, he has read a lot of this. Like we can just ask a question and he has an answer
He's
for
just
everything.
going,
I know. And then I get excited. Yeah. Okay. And the problem is sometimes I do this and like when we go back on certain things, I don't know how far I told you about the thing. Because I'll leave out certain details at times if you don't ask right questions, but then I get excited and I feel like I might reveal something later.
Did I give that shit?
But oh shit. So here we are. Moving on, you're now caught up. We have, you guys are currently in the second level of Thunder Chaser. Jamman has just set up.
We're in the.
I'm sorry, not
the Golden
the Golden Serpent Inn. Jamman has just set up to perform. Varys and Victor are sitting at a table as Trogo flies back over, having just discussed with the captain of the Thunder Chaser about boarding. You know that there are at least 3 more captains docked in this inn, though you haven't
Well, when we
reached out to anyone or tried to find them at this time.
when we first got here, there was only 3. One of them being the Thunder Chaser, and
Correct.
now there's a 4th one docked.
Correct. So
And
you know there's
there was a weird cat person staring us down. Right? Was it a cat person?
Tabaxi, correct.
Oh shit, we don't like cat people.
No,
We love.
Why don't we like cat people?
because they tried to murder
They tried to
us at our-
assassinate us. You wrote it. Well, a cat person did.
I was like, I don't think you guys had a
No,
bunch of
it's
Tabaxi there.
it's not a Tabaxi. It was.
Oh no, that was a Rakshasa. That's
Yeah.
that's a devil.
No, I thought it was a cat thing.
But it looked
It
like
was. It looked like a
Looks like
tiger. It looked like a tiger. These look more.
a tabby cat.
You've seen these before in towns. The Tabaxi is it's a race. Actually, you've killed one in the Xanathar's Guild. There was one down there that you guys did kill. Then you would have seen them very rarely, but you would have seen them in various towns, larger cities, things of the sort.
Like maybe Waterdeep.
Yeah, they're a common race, but not often seen for whatever the reason.
Okay. This is what I would base my opinion of what they look like.
Oh lord,
It's so bad.
Yep.
that's it.
That was the one staring us down actually.
Isn't that the grumpy cat?
Yeah.
All right, well you nailed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I got the idea.
I casted before I went up to perform. I casted that Undersong enchantment on me.
Which was that one?
I guess it doesn't do a whole lot, but just in case something breaks out, I just wanted to have it on me. But I just get to use performance rolls for concentration saves, as opposed to a straight con save.
How long does that last for?
8 hours.
Okay.
I thought it would also give me advantage, but I forgot I already have advantage,
Mhm.
so it doesn't really matter. Alright, my plan is to...
Now, you have to remember to cast that spell. I'm not just going to assume you wake up every day and cast it, because days
Oh, no.
last longer than
I'll
8
say it,
hours,
because
so
it
make
still takes
sure.
up like a spell slot. And
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not just going to keep it on.
I
It's
know.
more,
I just want to make sure we don't get to a situation. You'd be like, oh, well, I would have done this earlier. I want to make sure we know.
that's why I'm casting it now, because if I got till the rest of the night and a fight breaks out, I'd rather just have it on. But casting it, getting up there, I forgot where we left off. The last band just stopped, right?
They took about 20 minutes to pack up. They've packed up.
What?
Is Trogo still up there? Are you still
Drogo would
up
have
there?
just flown back to the group. and
Okay.
then as you were setting up, that happened. And if you're going anywhere else, that's up to you. But
I'll say. Oh, what did you say?
He's kind of a dick, to be honest with you. But he basically said if we go with him, we go where he goes, and we have to work for our keep. We have to, I don't know, wash sheets, swashbuckler, or two. I don't know.
I gotcha.
So,
I'd say you nailed it.
All right. I'll start off with my first song. It's just gonna be absolutely tearing it up to try and get people's attention.
Okay, so do you have a goal mindset behind this? Is it to entertain?
My first song is gonna be try to get attention. My second song is gonna be more of like the epics, like telling a tale, like of
so involved
adventuring.
singing and storytelling?
that'll be the second one,
Okay.
and then my last one I'll just like finish it off. Mostly just like performance with a little bit of storytelling and I'm basically my storytelling is going to be about
What?
going on adventures with the Stormslayers and like our feats, and then I want like the third one to kind of be like almost like an invitation. Like it's still gonna be playing, but it's like an invitation to see like who wants to adventure with us. That's like my three songs almost. You know what I'm saying? First one's just gonna be me tearing it up to get people's attention. Second one's gonna be an epic about the Stormslayers' adventures. Third one's gonna be almost like a I'm gonna I don't have the words in my head right now, but it's like almost more of like
Yeah, I
like
understand.
like telling tales, but like
You're trying,
inviting.
and the goal here is to attempt to try and get someone to come and talk to you guys about,
Yeah.
perhaps. Okay, understand. So first one, give me a performance. Are you guys doing anything as he begins to perform, or are you guys?
do I see any other captains?
No one else stands out amongst the crowd. Throughout the band, things have this place has been filling up pretty heavily. At this time, as it's getting later and the rest of the Thunder Chasers are starting to settle in, people are coming down. Make a perception check for me, since I know we left off there as he begins to perform.
I rolled a 16 on the die. I think I have a plus like 7. Nope, plus 12. So 28.
28. Okay, so looking throughout there, no one stands out in the degree of like a military captain, like where he was had the feathered hat and everything, as well as like the armor to the code, and everyone kind of matched. No one stands out that uniformed. You do see small clusters of groups of people who are definitely, say you see about 6 or 7 clusters of people on the main floor as well as the second floor. One table on the second floor that's sitting across from where you guys are at that is a little more. I'm sorry, you guys are on the third floor. So the second floor is where the captain is. So it's on the other side of where the captain is. You see another cluster of people who they look to be together, and they're definitely not from the Thunder Chasers, but you don't know to the degree that who they might be. Just that they're not part of that group.
Okay. I think I'm not gonna do anything
Okay.
while I'm performing. No.
Got it.
28 on the
20
first.
in the first one. Okay.
See this dash pass thing they're trying to get you to do now?
What is it?
$9.99 a month for free delivery.
Dear Lord.
If you use it enough.
If you use it enough, it's really worth it. I wouldn't use it enough.
What's the
That's
normal
what I'm saying.
delivery fee?
It varies restaurant to
Yeah.
restaurant, but it goes as high as like $4.99.
Goes as high as $4.99, can be as low as like a $1.99 or
Yeah.
$2.99. To be honest, like, for as many times I've used it, I've had free delivery on almost all of them.
See,
Either
if I-
like a special they have going on, or like
Mm.
your first month you get free deliveries. And
I pretty much like only do it when I'm here. I think I did it
Yeah.
once at home recently.
like, there's been times where I signed up for it, and then like as I was checking out, it was like, hey, this got offered free delivery or
I'm
something.
still sketched out
Yeah.
by it. I'm not. I'll take until I do it.
It's pretty cool.
Lazy.
I've got. You let me know because I want $7. I'll send you a thing for it. I'll do it right now.
All right. So, first one, you seemingly got the attention of almost everyone on the first floor. Is beginning to like the room itself is dying down more into watching you perform. And you set up. Have you set up in the stage area or on one of the planks?
I assume the stage area.
Stage area. Is
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead now with the second one. It'll be a second performance check. This will be in your tails.
29.
29. Okay. Then the same, and now you have some people who have begun to kind of more scan the audience as you do this, telling the tale of storm chasers. I'll say make a perception check for me while this is going on.
That's not bad. That's 22.
22.
Yeah.
Okay. Looking at the room, some people don't. You get kind of like people are enthralled in the tales, but no one's really seems to have heard of who you are. You just kind of
Yeah.
gather. There's like some murmurs, and like you very like can catch off your ear the one of the crowd, just kind of like someone murmuring like, "Who are these?" Like, but then everyone's very engrossed by the tales. And now the third one actually went to be a persuasion check, not a performance.
Okay.
Isn't that the same thing?
He has advantage on that, but this one's
I
still.
I don't have
really
advantage
high.
on persuasion, but
Oh, okay.
Just for the sake of what your goal is here.
so this isn't. Is this an ability check?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'll use Bardic Inspiration to add to that.
Okay. Is it a D10, right? Is it a D8 still?
I am at a D10, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, I'm at a D10 because
Alright.
the next level becomes a D12.
Awesome.
D10. Oh, there it is. Awesome. So that's going to be 25, 36.
Okay. You notice as you wrap up your performance.
I'll probably
you
play
say
one
it-
more song that's no words, just like tearing it up for
Okay.
a finale. But
Okay. And I'll say at the rate everything went, it goes over very well.
Okay.
None of those were bad at all, obviously.
yeah,
So
rolling with advantage, the plus 10 is pretty
Right.
solid.
kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah.
But everything going well. Things wrap up. You see like the crowd begins to murmur. We'll say for the sake of the secondary song too, there was a request for encore. Which do you
Yeah.
continue for another? Yeah.
Yeah.
So as that wraps up, are you finishing with any words or anything, or are you packing up and just returning to the table?
Kind of threw that out there. No, I wasn't planning on it. I'll just say that we'll be here all night or something, or I'll be here all night.
Okay. And then you return, and then you pack your things. You return back to the table.
Yeah, and I'll order us around the drinks.
As you guys sit and have the drinks, you do see that the crowd begins to murmur. At this time, pretty much as you ramp up and begin your walk over, you notice from what would be like the 6th floor up, a winged woman begins to kind of descend in a long flowing dress with just kind of begins to slowly fly down. You hear some like oohs and ahs from the crowd. It's just a very attractive person. She begins to fly,
Ooh,
sits
ah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
As she sits, she holds her hands out, and a harp kind of apparates in her hands, and she begins to just play over the place. The crowd
shutting you out.
calms down a little bit, but there is no. It's kind of like there's this still that is watching this lady as she plays. Having you been much more upbeat in storytelling, this is the next movement for the night has been calming, as it's still early and they're not rowdy enough to ignore her.
Yeah.
You guys sit. You have your second round. She rolled a natural 20 on her performance, so it's going very well. She's killing it. She's garnered a lot of attention.
If she looks my way, I'm gonna throw some winks at her.
Okay. She's looking more over the ground at this
Yeah.
time, but she's at the same level as no. Yeah,
she
she's at the
wasn't
same
sit-
level as you, so she's more looking down and at the crowd at the moment.
Okay.
But as you guys sit and have your drinks, you notice there's a small platoon of gnomes. Each one has this that same kind of like very pale skin. About 3 of them begin to kind of like levitate very slowly up to you guys. One has a flask, not a flask, but a pint in hand, which to a gnome it looks pretty large. But they continue to fly up towards you, kind of making eye
Hey, Trevor,
contact.
these
You
your
see
buddies
these
flying
people
up
are
there?
definitely.
I'm nowhere near you.
Oh no, he's coming back to the table. Are you going out? As you guys, you do see these 3 gnomes begin to approach the table.
Oh, I thought he was still up.
No, he had finished playing. The lady is now up playing the harp. You guys are together having a round at the table.
Well, I shoot him back like a really glare.
As you guys make your spine exchange, the one kind of lands. They land gently to the ground. You notice that all 3 of them, while they are very close to the ground, none of them are actually touching. Each one is about like half an inch or so, and seems to just kind of like be levitating there. Their frames are all pretty meager, with the exception of their arms, which are all pretty swollen. They are a very weird shaped individual comparatively.
They're
Each
shipyard
one
workers that don't use their legs.
extremely, yeah, each one extremely pale. One of them, though, who currently kind of has like spiked up bluish hair, kind of holds a hand out to you, who had just performed. He says, "The name's Bulbous Tinkertop."
I laugh out loud.
I, without laughing, immediately shake his hand. Say, "Hey, Bulbous, I'm Jamineros the Jam Man Card."
This is a gnome, right?
Sorry, let me grab this.
What was his last name?
Tinkertop.
Tinkertop, dude. Okay.
Bolvin Tinkertop.
Bulbous.
Bulbous.
Bulbous. Tinkertop. Who named that, dude?
Oh man, if I wasn't trying
Nobody
to secure
loves
us a
you.
captain, all I want to do is call him Bulbous Twinkle Tot. Twinkle Twat.
Twinkle twat. Oh, shit.
Not doing that right now.
He looking to the group. To you laughing as well. He doesn't seem to mind or pay much attention. He does give a smile to it, and then turns back towards you and says, "Well, based on those deeds, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like you were looking for someone to give you a little tour around around these here lands, or these here winds.
Wins.
Lands.
There you go.
Winds.
We just misheard. You got
Yeah.
it the first time.
We are looking for some venturing to do out here. Would you happen to know how to get to any of the prismatic orders?
He says, I've delivered a few well-to-dos there in my time. You got a particular color you're looking for? Or the main warehouse?"
Purple.
They kind of laugh at him.
Red. I don't know
red?
what the color is.
Well, it's anything you could find in a prism. So purple and red, that'll do.
So Roy G. Biv.
Or G-Bit.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Let's go blue.
So he's looking for the blue one.
Thanks
The
for
blue
asking.
He says that'd be something I could navigate us to. We are under contract right now to make a delivery off. Make sure I get it right. He says we're currently on delivery to the Sky Temple ruins just outside. We have some cargo that needs to be dropped. But we'd be more than welcome to take you there, and then after that, wherever you'd want to go.
Sky Temple Ruins, huh?
Yeah.
What,
It's,
what's this place?
truthfully, it's not the most. Oh wait, let me make sure I have that right. Nope, I'm lying to you. Let's backtrack.
I still wrote it down.
You can take note of the sky,
Lies.
because he's going past the Sky Temple ruins to the Great Caliph.
Great Caliph?
To the Great Caliph.
And who is the Great Caliph? Or what is the Great Caliph?
Sounds like a genie.
Sounds like a wizard.
Sounds like your mom.
He is the Great Caliph is a jinn. Is a powerful jinn stronghold.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? What direction is it in?
Says it's he kind of just points in a direction.
I don't think that's a question.
About that way.
Aha! So you do know there is a direction. It's not a directionless void out there.
He says,
And how does one gain their bearings out there trying to travel to a specific location in mind?
he says, well, you need to find yourself a navigator, someone native to the plane, someone who's been here long enough, someone who has the ability to read the winds, as they say. They describe it more as they can more see a path that's in it, as the strength wanes and dies, and there's various patterns. I have had him explain it to me before, but it's not. I don't know. It's
So,
not my bearing, not my deal.
What,
Get
do you have a
glasses.
navigator that you will take as you go?
Yes, we have a navigator aboard the ship. Though, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she's with the ship now. So proper introductions will have to be be done should you choose to board with us. Says it's a decent sized vessel. It'll get you where you need to go, but there's of course a fee that comes with traveling. You know, we got to make our bill. You know, we got to pay our bills just like everyone else. Pay our dues.
And tell me, Bulbous, what do you know of the Elder Tempest?
The Elder Tempest. You know, I'm native to the plane as well. Everyone as a child's told of the story of how the Elder Tempest came here eons ago, created the Great Storm, which eventually ripped into all the ripped up all the nodes, which was once a previous Dao, which was once a previous Dao fortress. Turned it into everything that's flying around now.
All right.
Oh, nothing.
I'm
Just
sorry.
looking at you. No, I had nothing.
I got a dice with me if I need it.
I know. I believe you.
Do you get food or something?
Do you happen to know if we could find more information on the Elder Tempest, perhaps at the Great Caliph?
He says the Great Caliph might know. The Jinn are direct spawn of this Tempest, if everything is true. There's a chance he knows. He does know a lot, though he's a little bit arrogant, to say the least. So
I was hoping he was going to say eccentric.
Mm-hmm.
An
eccentric works as well, but
And
he is
I
going to
directly
require.
point at Chogo, and I say, I have had experience with arrogance.
He says that he
What
says
word Victor for that?
arrogance is there.
What? Victor? I'll do one of these.
High in arrogance and eccentric. He will require some form of gift
Mm-hmm.
for information like that.
Understood.
But you know, his temple is great, and he is quite a vivacious host. Yeah, he has. He's a vivacious host.
All right, let's go to. Oh man.
Well, I would say this. I mean,
This guy seems like less of a dick, right? 'Cause Drogo said the other guy was kind of a dick, right?
Yeah, but he also might just be hoping we board his ship for protection or something. I don't know. So what are the dangers of traveling out there?
Dangers. Well, you have any sort of aviary creature you could think of that could be through the winds. You have worms. You have typical storms. The occasional, which we fortunately only had a couple run-ins and were able to navigate around, but these void maelstroms. Let's see, what else? I mean, other pirates, of course. Not that we are pirates here.
Other
We like
pirates?
to-
Okay.
Dying, actually. We like to think we're doing. We like to think we do honest business and taking people to and from where they want to go, as quick as we can and as safe as we can. That being said, we've made some enemies, as anyone else could. As some people don't like the passengers we have, but for the right coin, we'll take whoever, wherever, whenever.
All right.
Says, well, I could leave you to think on it, but we do dock after a brief rest. We look to have some fun tonight and then leave at. I'm still troubled with this. Actually, being a tinkerer, I'll say he pulls out a watch.
I steal it.
Not uncommon, like pretty similar actually to the one you have, but the dial itself isn't the same.
The
in
rainbow
colors.
thing I have.
Yeah. He said he looking at it. He says, "Well, you freeing from the material plane. We'll say in about 10 hours or so we leave.
Okay.
Should you guys wish to?
You can keep track of
venture
time
with
still,
us.
can't you?
Not really.
There's no sun. There's no stars. There's no north. There's nothing. So, unfortunately, on this plane."
Maybe
Like
if I
other
had a
planes,
device, I
it's
could probably
difficult.
figure it out faster. But I don't have a fancy watch like that.
With the watch you have, which do one of you have that on you? The color one?
I think I said
I
fit
think it's in. I looked. I'm sure it's in your inventory and your thing.
Yeah.
I looked the other day. You'd be able to gauge well enough where 10 hours is to find it and get boarded with it, should you choose.
Okay.
He says,
Well, we also plan on partying throughout tonight, and so enjoy yourselves.
he says, well, am I expecting to wait up for you? Give you some time to think about it? What do you want? And please, it is coin in advance.
How much?
This plane can be unforgiving, and it gives us a little insurance should anything happen to you or us, to or from wherever we're going.
How much?
Says, how many of you will there be? Is it just the 4 of you, or
4
in
of
your
us.
tales there were many other people? 4?
4.
All right.
There are a lot of people in our tale.
I've killed the others.
Says, let's see, 4 passageway, and now you're gonna come with us for the first leg, which I won't. It'll be charged just normal docking fees to get to and from, or 2 rather, and then I'll tell you what. We'll judge it by legs. When we get to the Citadel of
The Citadel of
Ice and Steel, where the Great Khalif lives, then we'll settle on payments for the second part of the journey.
Okay, so we would pay for the journey to
So this, we'll make it an even 100
the
gold
Citadel.
for each of you. So 100 to 400 gold. That'll get you to the Citadel of Ice and Steel. And then we can discuss, based on what my navigator says, how long it'll take us to get and how dangerous it might be.
What was the other guy's price?
he didn't give us a price.
He,
But he's
he
also
wanted
not
us to
gonna-
work for him.
And he's not going to go where we want him to go. He's just going to go wherever the hell he wants.
Fuck, 100 gold. God damn.
And we can kind of afford that.
This is sidebar.
Yeah.
Huddle. Okay.
I mean, that's only 40
He
platinum.
does say, he says, well, I mean, again, I'll leave you to your drinks.
One of us will reach you
Discuss.
before you depart.
And,
Well before you depart.
I'll give
At
you
some
the
point.
benefit.
At some point within the next few hours.
all right, works for us. You see as he kind of raises a hand, the other two turn him, and they begin to slowly kind of drift back down to the first level, and out of earshot as well as sight.
Did they look like they had anything to do with that other group of that other table?
Don't skip
people?
leg day.
You've seen another group that look to be the same kind of like pale gnomish entities, creatures, at another table, which they don't join. They go and join a table of that you would also see. And at that, you saw about 6 other people, ranging from humans, elves, typical kind of more.
Do I see the tabaxi out in the crowd somewhere?
The one that you saw previously?
No.
You do not. And even where you were playing, you do not have a view. Their location where you saw them when you walked in was by the stairwell, and they were very much tucked in that corner.
Gotcha. I cast locate tabaxi.
Okay. It pings about 7 different tabaxi in the current location.
That's something you have?
No. So you guys sitting alone, having met a second captain, the gnome, Bulbous Tinkertop.
Bulbous Twinkle Twat.
That's a goofy name. Gnomes are fucking goofy. Yeah. So when I was talking to Pyre, you said I saw somebody on another table across from them, same level, right?
Same level.
That's not
That was not part of their group, correct?
part of the gnomes that we just talked to.
Correct.
So I guess I'll take a broom and go down and stop by that table. And just inquire as to if they knew of any ships in the dock currently that are
Okay.
looking for.
The table that you fly to as you approach is about 5 people. There are 2 Arakoa, these large wing-beaked creatures that you've seen quite a few of here. One of them is a very very blue-skinned, bald-headed figure with kind of like a cloak over, and you see like something kind of protruding out of the back of the cloak slightly, like it probably has some sort of wings underneath it that are currently not in sight. The other 2 are both humans. One is elderly. The other one seems to be pretty young, maybe in his like 18, 17 year range. They look, and you can gather that they appear to be father, son of some sort. And as you approach the table, you're asking for captains.
At this point, since I don't know if anybody's a captain, just like, does anybody know of any ships in the dock that are heading out, looking? I'm looking to find a ride, basically.
As you approach, the kid kind of turns, and more excitedly than the rest of the group said that the Thunder Chasers docked today. If I had it my way, I'd be boarding with them in the morning. It's something else to be able to fly the skies in a rig like that. The father kind of like silencing them says, "There's a few ships docked here and elsewhere. Do you know where you seek to make travel? We may be of assistance to you."
I know the Prismatic Order of Mages, Mage Order of Prisms.
Prismatic Order. Yeah. What of them? You're looking for the towers?
Yeah.
All right. That's a journey. That's a journey you'll need a captain for. Well, more importantly, you need the navigators. All right. Looks to be, if I'm not mistaken, when I came in earlier, 3 of the 4 ships up there are built for that kind of distance travel. As my son pointed out, the Storm Chaser was one.
The Thundercats.
Thunder Chaser. Sorry.
Thundercats.
The Thunder Chaser
Oh!
is definitely could get you the distance.
That's the one with the dickhead guy, right?
Unfortunately, docked here, of the other 2 ships, I'm not sure who pilots them. The 4th one is more for localized travel around the city, as well as maybe interpassing nodes should someone need a jump from Calypso to another. I know that because that one's mine. He says, should we pass something or other cities, whether it be cities, towns, or nodes worth exploring, I offer travel to and from those nodes. Unfortunately, that's not unless we pass Prismatic Order Temple in the next, well, however long you have. I'm not much use to you. I don't really know any of the other captains, but I'd be willing to bet that they're all here. And based on their stock of the ships, they won't be here for much longer.
Okay.
Around town, there's a few others if you do want to go out and look.
Like smaller, or we need one that'll go that distance.
Cross vessels, yeah. There's several that are docked. Again, more or less gotta find them. I've been here for the night. This is as we just came in from a passing mineral node.
Okay.
What are you guys doing as he's talking to them?
I got a quick question. So this cantrip I learned from the book, Elmer's book called Create Item. It basically says you just, I don't know if you looked at it, but
Is that the one you were looking at?
Yeah.
Okay, I know the spelling.
okay. But it says it has to, like
Yeah,
the
pretty
item you make is essentially has to be less than 2 gold pieces of
Yeah.
cost.
But
Less
it could
than
be
or
like
equal to.
any fucking item.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's fucking sweet.
but is that relative to like our plane?
To your plane.
I mean, steel is much more expensive up here.
But it disappears after like an hour.
If it leaves your hand, it disappears.
No, not if it leaves your hand.
It just disappears after X amount
It
of
disappears
time.
after an hour, or if it moves more than 10 feet away from you.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
Think you
are sure?
printed
I
it?
thought it was if it leaves your
Yeah,
hands.
I have it. I have it. Well, I wrote it out. I copied it down from the book. But create matter, whatever is less than or equal to 2 gold pieces. If it moves more than 10 feet away, or if you use it for like a whole round, or after 1 hour.
Okay.
So those are the 3 things. If you like if it's a hammer, it says you get like 1 round of use out of it.
Yeah.
And then it goes away. If it's like something you create just to sit there, it lasts an hour. Or if you move, or like if it ever becomes more than 10 feet away from you, it disappears. So I'm just curious. Not that I'm not thinking about this in terms of a loophole of selling
It's
steel.
one piece. Well, it does say one piece of adventuring gear, which would be anything in the player's handbook on that one page that has all the adventuring gear on it.
Alright.
That's what it would pretty much be.
Okay. I'll double
It
check.
weighs less than 10 pounds. So that would be another part of it, I guess, too. Which is less than 10 pounds.
Oh yeah, I didn't write that down. With less than 10 pounds.
Yeah. The item is more than 10 feet away from you. It's not attached to the player.
All right, then if I'm just looking at the adventure gear, that it'll be fine. I'm thinking because not that I was planning on it because we don't really have time, but I could just keep creating steel and selling it since it's so cheap for us.
Right, but if anyone, as soon as it.
Yeah, as soon as I left, it all
It does say
disappeared.
anyone who holds
I
the
think
item.
you have to be a little bit evil for that, right? Oh, you're
Not only that, it
neutral.
says if anyone who holds the item or examines it closely, you can tell it's not real. So as soon as you hand it to someone, they would know it's
I
not
would
real
never
steel.
hand it to them.
How would you sell it?
No,
I mean,
I-
you don't take the money and run.
I'm thinking more of just like things like that. Like
Ooh, look at this.
and like I said, I'm not planning on doing it because I feel like I'd only ever make like.
Those are some level 5 hijinks. Get
I was
that
gonna say
shit
that's
out
not.
not.
Okay, there it is. Adventuring gear 148. Okay. While I'm looking this up, I don't know. I'm doing another perception check if there's anybody else that looks like they were interested in my songs and tales and.
Ordering food.
I'm debating on it, but the fees are just gross. Like they kind of are like $2.99 delivery fee and then a $2 surcharge fee
Christ.
thing. It's like what?
Dude, I drove past twice. I'm sorry.
Where'd you get it from?
Round the clock.
You got delivery from around the clock?
Yeah.
That's
You
awesome.
get delivered from like anywhere now.
No, I know, but the fact that it's literally on the corner.
Oh yeah,
I've actually
right?
wanted
Really?
to do that so much. I have though. There's nights where I'm like, it takes me 30 seconds to drive over there. Even if I don't make a light, I can make a right and then just go into the other entrance. Like,
Y'all ought to catch up.
am I?
I don't see anything.
What?
Picture.
Unless
Sick.
Caitlin took it with her. She might have.
Took ketchup?
Yeah.
Like when she moved
A
out?
lot of the food was like her food, but like.
Oh, did she move out though?
Yeah, Caitlin. I have another guy moving in tomorrow.
Alright, so he told us about some captains that are in the city.
Just that, yeah. There's other docking. There's other ports. He knows of the vessels here, 3 of them are capable of traveling those distances. He pilots the 4th one, which he does not have a navigator to go
Okay.
that far.
Does he know of any navigators that are for hire?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not of that distance. Says those kind of people come and go, and then they're gone for
Do you know the create item spell?
long periods of
Fair
time.
enough.
I don't know it well, but that's
No.
what I picked.
Did you learn it?
Yeah.
You should look up some of the adventuring gear. Just finding a lot of uses now.
That's a good idea.
Alright, well, I guess if we come across a navigator,
I'm having another drink.
that might be an option.
If I don't see anybody else like making their way towards us to talk.
Yeah, at this
whatever.
time, as far as the capable hands here, you got the attention of one of the captains here, so you guys now know, with his information, you know 2 of the 3 captains staying here that you'd be capable of boarding with for the travel you're trying to make.
And there's nobody else, no other person in the 3rd row that looks like me. There might be somebody.
You see the groups of people, but none of them they stand out as in different groups of like huddled together and having conversations and drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Even by this point in the night, having a few rounds, one of the tables would have left. It's kind of dwindling down. You've not really seen much else movement as far as on these levels go. You do have the group, yeah. Unless you go to approach.
Okay, well, I'm thinking about going to the ship.
Up to which ship?
Boldus.
Have I seen the dock before? We've been to the dock, correct?
No, but it's directly above you.
Oh, okay.
There is a roof on the building you're in. The column doesn't go up. So you haven't gone inside. You could go outside and fly around, or you could try and find the exit that would lead to the dock at the top. Either way. But yeah.
You said there's no darkness, right?
Correct.
And there's no light. Well,
There's just no sun either. There's
But
just
there's light.
so yeah, everything's just like that same like light blue like and you could see when you look out I described the last bit as you were looking up, you could see like a node in the distance. You could see for just miles and miles and miles in a direction before clouds kind of move across and take the cover and things of the sort. The only thing that ever really inhibits your vision is clouds.
okay. Yeah, I'm trying to go up to the docks.
Okay. Are you going on the outside of the building, or are you just flying up to find the?
Yeah, we're on the outside.
Okay. As you leave, you take off out of your broom. You guys are still at the table. You begin to fly up the top. As you approach the top, you see there are still 2 more docking areas that are currently undone. You see the newest one, which must have been the gentleman you talked to, whose ship it's a smaller vessel. However, it's propelled by 2 large propellers like this that are kind of jointed to shift back and forth should they need to. You see the ship with the crystals on it, the large warship, which is taking about 3 docks up, and then you have one other ship that is currently hasn't been looked at, and it also contains 2 where the crystals on the one ship are top and bottom. It just has blue crystals in 2 places on the top sides, and it's kind of very sleek, where it almost looks like it has like wings coming off of it. It does have a small mast in the center where it looks like it has a drop down for some sort of sail, yeah, and then it does as well have a small propeller in the very back of it. Kind of looks almost submarine-like in its design, and then the back tail of itself is made of kind of like cloths that seem like they could move and navigate.
Can I make up the one that I think looks like the Thundercastle? That's the war one, right?
That's the one. That's the massive ship taking about 3 docks right now.
And the one with the gnomes, I don't know for sure, but get the feeling that's that one with the 2 crystals on top and bottom.
Yeah, I'll say because of the conversation, It looks to be way more technical, where it doesn't even have sails. It's just these crystals that are spread throughout it.
Okay.
You do see as well on the dock itself there are guards stationed. There's a few just humanoid shapes as well as some genies who are up there, as well as large. They look to be like ballista that are kind of stationed at each end. They seem to be pretty heavily monitored, as that's the one law that exists in this city, is don't fuck with people's ships. Safe place to dock. And even then, just being on your broom, no one pays you mind in the sense, but they are definitely watching you, though a ton of things fly in the city, so it's not unusual to see someone come up and be looking at ships.
People seem to be really into the ships too.
Yeah.
Like,
Is there anywhere to hide?
Not in the immediate vicinity. There's other larger buildings that you could fly around in the distance, but nothing that's directly nearby. Again, most buildings here are about 1 or 2 stories until you reach these large, they look to be like obelisks sticking out of the city. Whether they're docks, this one particular one's an inn, the other ones aren't all inns, they're not. Some are just docks.
Some docks are docks, some docks are inns.
Some docks are shipwrights.
Just depends.
Yep.
Any distinguishing markings on that narrow one?
Just what I wrote this down. You do see etched into the back of it the name of the ship, which is the Tanishar's Fate.
Tanishar's Fate?
Yeah.
This is the one you think is the gnome dudes?
No.
No.
The Gnomes dude is called the Flying Eel, which you would also be able to see now.
So wait, which one's this then?
Tanishar's Fate is the third one that you guys haven't met the captain for.
Okay.
how's Zante's?
Huh?
Zante's?
Everything cool?
Oh, Zante's restaurant?
What about there's something that saw that was like Waldo Coney's Pizza?
Waldo Cooney's is supposed to be very good.
Okay.
I don't know what any of that is.
Yeah. The first time I've ever heard of it is I saw it on DoorDash. For here.
They're making
Oh,
shit
I'm
up.
putting D&D tonight.
You said the flying eel?
No, I know. So it,
They spell eel? E-E-L?
alright.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later. You too.
Like, that doesn't look right.
Oh, that's right. Alright, so what are you guys doing? I assume you guys have continued to have a few drinks. You have your key already to your room. Should you guys go and want to stay?
Is anybody else playing?
The Lady of the Harp is still playing. She's been playing for, at this point, probably about the past hour.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Hogging the stage much. God.
Couldn't find anything else.
You can kind of tell that where she has captivated many people's attention at this point, it's starting to slip a little as the room is starting to grow in volume. Still not being rude, as her performance is spot on, but she is still going at it.
And what does she look like?
She is a winged woman in a red dress, with kind of also red, like flowing hair, very
What kind of wings?
white feathered wings,
Like an angel?
kind of a very angelic in the nature of them.
And she's playing a harp?
Oh yeah.
What's an angel doing in Pirate City?
I don't know what to do right now. I guess we can go with the,
Yeah, I mean-
the gnomes.
Nope, seems safe.
Yeah. They're just expensive.
I mean, is it though? Is it?
I mean, There's 100.
Yeah,
100 for the leg. How long? How many days is that on the ship? Do we know?
100 will get you to there, and it's because he's currently under contract with someone else. So he's being paid. So that's not even his full price. That's his like stowaway price.
See,
So it's expensive. My only thought though is that he's going to a place that we might get information out of
Yeah.
that Great Khalif,
Yeah, I think
because
that's.
the Jinn have been around, have been around since like the Elder Tempest.
Yeah.
Are there chances of other ships being at the dock there?
Right.
That we could maybe switch to.
You could potentially switch, or you could potentially, if you don't pay his price, be stranded there for some time. I'm just speaking if there isn't,
Right.
that could be something that happens.
But we could at least get there, and we could perhaps meet council or whatever and talk with the Great Khalif. And I'm thinking,
So much talking. Let's go fight.
I know, Josh's gonna roll. We're gonna encounter a dragon on our way to the fucking
Oh
citadel.
no! He's gonna
So
fuck
switch
us
the
on way
music.
there. We didn't even get to the Elder Tempest.
We're like talking to the navigator. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'll be able to get you guys to the prismatic ore," and then she just fucking dies. Yeah, she dies in the next fight.
Harvey fucking coming, drag her out the ship. All right, let's go. Let's do that tomorrow. Now let's drink.
Hold on, real quick. I'm thinking, because I have some of these magic items on me. Maybe we could give one up to the Great Khalif.
You have to give an offering to this thing.
Didn't he say it was recommended?
Yeah, if you're trying to get information from him, he is, and this is what you miss, is he's very eccentric and very arrogant in the sense that this is his palace, this is his home, he's existed here forever. He is definitely he was described as being a good man, a generous man, but he's still a ruler and he just believes in a fair
Is it ruling this
exchange.
whole plane?
No. The Citadel of Ice and Steel is where you're attempting to go.
Okay.
That's another node, essentially.
I say, all good there. I guess go ahead, whatever you want. I don't think I have anything worth offering.
There's two things I'm debating. I have basically a jar of spell eating that it requires attunement, and so I just haven't really found wanting to get rid of anything
I
for
got
it.
it. We'll take the flask that we had the primordial in.
No, I feel like we need to keep that for doing
we don't need
primordial
that one.
I'm
deeds.
saying we catch him.
Oh, no, yeah.
And then we
No,
Yeah,
it
that'll be
doesn't.
good.
we become
It doesn't work like that here.
Because this is his native plane.
Yeah, it only captures creatures that aren't on a non-native plane.
So you can capture each other.
If somebody dies, maybe we'll save them.
Interesting.
I mean, I do
I'll
have.
to look
I've
up
had
how
it
that
on me
item
since.
works for things like that. Now that
But
it's been
this spell eating jar is that if you were to take magic damage and you had this jar on you, you can instead capture the spell inside the jar, and then you could uncork it and use the jar as an action to cast a chromatic orb out of it. So it's like, oh geez, I guess it's
Does that seem like something that the Great Khalif would need?
no.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm saying too, whatever you decide to give up, like having, because just to save you the time later, have a reason why it's something that this guy who lives in the
Embellish.
palace that
You're a bard.
wants it. Yeah. No, you could sell it to him. Find him where, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of like obviously a powerful item that could garner.
I've got it. I've got a pair of antlers that'll make you run 50 miles or 50 feet.
He could probably just fucking
Return.
These all have
fly
flying
and.
speed.
Yeah.
The other thing, though, I don't know if I want to get rid of it, but I have the Amulet of Storm Calling, which, I don't know, sounds like it actually is probably something wanted up here. But it adds 1d6 lightning to all weapon and spell attacks. Once per day, they can just make a giant fucking thunderstorm, which increases the die of the lightning attacks. And if they have a Robe of the Rain Dancer, they also get to do some sort of lightning teleport blink. But it's a pretty sweet item. It's the Amulet of the Stormcaller. I feel like I could sell that up here.
Why does he want it?
Makes sense, maybe.
You gotta make a story though.
Exactly. I mean, I'm thinking, is that something we're willing to part with? Does anybody want the Amulet of the Stormcaller?
Nope.
I mean, I was thinking it might be cool because it adds 1d6 to each of my Eldritch, my blasts. Eldritch Blast. but I am hardly ever doing damage anyways.
I'm gonna try the Zante's place. It's in Hammond. I remember where it is now.
It's on 169.
Yeah.
I've never been there, but it's always.
It's got really good reviews, and
People
it's
there.
one of the only ones with the $1.99 delivery
What
fee.
kind of food is it?
You know, it's a general like everything place. It seems.
It's like-
I'm getting a Euro
It's like
plate with fries.
Euro.
How much is that?
It's $10.85, which isn't bad.
I gotta be careful making
I
it.
real
got
plate.
$20 with your name on it if you order me one of those too.
If I
I don't want to download the app right now and get it all set up, but
mhm.
I still will give you that. I still owe you for the Witch, but this I actually have cash for.
Word. Let's do it.
Alright, cool.
Josh,
Back to business.
Which
I am going to unattune to my staff of healing for right now.
Okay.
I want to attune to this Amulet of the Stormcaller
Okay.
over the next hour, and I want to like cast Identify on it, and I want to find out any additional information I can about this.
You guys cast Identify on it. That's where you get the
But it just tells us this, right? I'm saying if like I'm arcane
Shit.
proficient, is there any other way for me to like get any sort of backstory or any other information out of this?
Not necessarily. That's a spell called Legend Lore.
No.
It's a 4th level spell.
I changed my spell to Legend Lore. I can learn that. I just never saw a real use for it, I guess.
Forces the DM to make up a bunch of legends at all the time. Oh, it's this thing's legend. God damn it. It's a rock. It's been a part of the planet since it started. Before that,
This
it
was
was
the
a bigger
first.
rock.
This is the first round.
This is the yeah.
Well, I just wanted to see if maybe there was more of a story. Do I know anything about the Amulet of the Stormcaller? Like, if I heard it in
It's
Legends?
ugly looking.
I don't
You
think it's
found it because literally, unfortunately, with all these magic items, you just found them in a hoard. You know what I mean? This was just the Xanathar's Keep. Who knows why or how it got there? You don't know anything about them. All you do is identify them to find out what they do. So,
Alright, well then,
you
And
guys,
then the whole night.
as you guys have been drinking now for some period of time, what were we saying?
Like, as I'm throughout the night, as I'm getting drunk, I'm just like approaching people randomly talking about the what's the name of the narrow ship I just saw.
Make a
in that case, sorry, I don't unattune to my staff if I can't gain any additional knowledge.
yeah.
Okay.
It'll be just make a D20 check, just straight up. This is gonna be just a chance check.
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to gamble?
This is drunken stupor.
17.
All right. So, as you are drunkenly stammering, and as you guys are still up, because Victor, as well as I know, Varys doesn't drink a ton. Victor kind of does, but you tend to keep your wits about you. You do watch as Trogo kind of stumbles out of sight below, towards the group of with the tabaxi that you had previously seen walking in. As you do, you see that, and even in your stupor, you still have good enough wits about you that you see them, the two on the edge, kind of shift towards the end of the booth slightly and just ready themselves a little bit more. But you approach this table and just kind of shouting out the name of the ship at this point in the night.
Has anybody heard about this ship? It's
You watch as the
long. It's got a.
okay.
About
He kind of like turns his head up to you a little bit and says, he says, "That would be my vessel. What of it?"
Can I just say, your ship is gorgeous.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated.
I've been looking for ships all day because we have to go to the Prism Orbs with the mages, and they want to go meet with the Kyle Jeet. Oh
At
man!
this point, we've heard, as you've mentioned to every other table in this room. No, just the seeking for the captain.
I'm just saying, I need a ship. That ship looks cool.
Says you're so.
What's your price on shipping?
And handling.
Shipping what? Do you have
bodies of
cargo?
people to places. There's no other things.
Well.
Just the people with the going.
Does it matter how you're getting there?
I mean,
I'm sorry. Are you looking to be, well,
flown there?
I would say in this, no. Yes, we are more than capable of taking you there. I mean, for a price, of course.
What kind of price? Because I've heard some ridiculous numbers today.
What kind of numbers have you heard today?
Oh
I
god.
heard numbers as high as 50 gold a person for the total.
That doesn't seem too absurd. If you're just looking for transportation, well, one storm will cause more than that damage to my vessel.
I mean, what are you talking? What are you talking?
How many
What's
people?
your low?
And what's
four
the
people.
low? 4 people.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
The prismatic order,
Does it matter which one?
purple
Purple
It
one?
doesn't matter.
one.
Specifically? It could take us longer to get there, but it's something we could do.
What's the closest one, actually?
At a
That's
given
the one I
time,
wanna go to.
he looks over to the individual sitting next to him, who's kind of like just kind of like a cloaked elf. You see the ears.
Are you a navigator?
Uh,
Are you you're the navigator, aren't you?
he looks up and just kind of, yes, I would be the navigator.
All right.
Says,
Apparently, those are hard to find too.
well, we are paid well for our services, so people tend to keep us close to the, well, just play it down. Anyway, we can get you there. Based on the last winds to blow through to the purple, you're looking at about 6 winds worth of journey.
6 winds, and that equates to. I look over to the captain.
He says, given the strength of a wind at a current time, you're looking anywhere from 3-4 days to 2 weeks.
Whew.
Again, that's not.
You said 60 gold a person?
He says 50 gold a person is not. You said 50, but 50 gold a person is not an unreasonable fee. I'll tell you what, though. We've been docked here for some time. I'll cut you a deal on 40 gold a person. Though, in the business we are, exploration is one of our specialties. We would like to, should we come across something worth exploring, we would request the extra time to do so. You don't need to come with per that, but it's something that.
I would be interested in that. Let me bring this up with the guys up there, and then.
Please do, and
You gonna be here for a while, or like should I call you?
we currently have no adventure.
Should I call you?
We have no adventure at foot. We're more in for the night, seeing what, or in for the time being to see what we can do, see where the winds take us.
Well, I like what you're talking right now. Cause 50 gold is way out of my price range. 40 is not. It's not great, but it's the best one I've heard.
And now
tonight.
we did say 40 gold per person.
Oh yeah. Per group, person. All right, and I like drunkenly hold on to the broom.
The broom's just going.
You bump into the side, you land on the second level, you start walking up the tables that aren't your table or your friends.
Jam it! I got a better deal.
Trogo. We're up one more floor.
So sorry. Like
922.
If there's anything knock overable, I'd probably knock it over.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Drinks have been spilled, a chair has been knocked from the second level onto the first level, barely missing a person who's now looking up at you angrily. You don't know. You don't care. You continue to move.
I toss a couple gold. Wait, now, how much are drinks? They're like 10 silver?
That's a gold. So no, they're like give or take, they're like 5 silver.
Okay, I'll toss a couple gold down there.
Okay.
That's like 4 drinks.
As he does, he looks up and sees the gold coins coming down. The individual kind of holds their hand out, catches one of the coins that are clean to the ground. Person next to him scoops them up. They kind of look back at each other and then back up as charcoal lands over, and you guys kind of go outside of those people.
Sorry.
I'm giving the rundown and excruciatingly long and overplayed and just like.
So over the next hour, he tells you the tale of the 3-minute conversation he had with the captains. At this point, you guys are finally starting to feel fatigued with the night, with the fact that you have actually, by the time you got to this place, it was later. Adrenaline pumps from being in a new location, but having been in this dark interior of this building.
Would you consider
has
it
weighed
dim
down.
light?
Yes.
Okay, just making
Yes.
sure.
In places, anywhere that is not the main central floor, towards any of the walls is definitely dimly lit. The main center, though, is magically lit by various magical flames that exist throughout the different levels on the sides.
Okay.
At this point, too, the lady has stopped playing, and a new band has stepped up, a 3-piece that is now currently.
It's a little rowdier.
It is definitely more rowdy. The bottom tier, you've since now kind of seen one fight escalate to the point of like someone being struck in the face before pulled apart from each other and starting an all-out brawl in the area. Eventually, they were separated and go back to drinking. Story being told about this new crew. What are you guys doing?
40 gold. That's way better.
But the other place knows exactly where to take us for that. Do we want to go see that djinn or no? The Great Khalif,
What is it? What is it he has to offer?
Mia Khalif. What?
What is it that he has to offer?
He's just a genie that's been around forever, so he might have more information on the Elder Tempest.
Then what do we need to go to the prisons for?
They just might have more information on the Elder
Tempest.
Tempest.
So, we pay 40 gold.
Well, we can
to
also
get some
ask.
information
What
on
if we ask them
Tempest.
to take us to the? You said they're down there.
Yeah. I mean, they'll probably take us there too. I don't know.
Well, I'll see how
Just
far
don't
that
mention
journey is
that-
if they're willing to go.
I talked him down to 40, so don't go say anything stupid to ruin this for me.
I got you. We can go down there together if you'd like.
Sure.
Okay.
Hop on.
All right. Are you gonna stay up here? Or do you want to go down
I'll
there with
stay
us?
with Victor.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, it's fine.
I'll see how this goes, and then if they're gonna take if they'll take us there for 40 gold, do we just do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'll go down there.
All right. Are you
Read
taking
the
stairs?
situation. Make sure they're not just a bunch of like scally.
No, I'm gonna get on my broom too, and I'm gonna fly and hold Trogo.
Try and steady his
as we fly down there.
in a whirlwind of attempts. You do fly down. He gets away from you a little bit, but you guys are able to coast.
Make sure he doesn't just face plant into another table.
You cut them into pieces.
Thank you.
just a whole plate of brownies.
Yeah, I know.
Oh
We
my
all get our own
god.
whole plate of brownies.
That's
Did Joe
That's a way to
join
do
or
it.
no?
No, I don't make it. He's not here, so.
You guys are gonna have to have this.
That's fine.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Enjoy.
What are you doing?
Is the other girl here?
Huh?
Is the other girl here?
Emma? No, she's at work.
Emma? Okay.
Yeah, she's at
I was
work.
gonna say if she was there, you could share with her.
Yeah, no, she's not here.
Sorry. Your corner light didn't come on.
Maybe it's out. It normally turns on super.
Yeah, when I'm very far away. It was very dark out there. Were you really sore after rollerblading that one night?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
Surprisingly,
Yes.
but no, it wasn't too bad.
I don't know how you did it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is
So
wild.
I'm not even have a good shelter up here.
Alright, thank you.
If you have a good shelter.
Oh, thank you so
Okay.
much. Sorry.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah, I didn't know she said that either. I had no idea what she was talking about. Alrighty. So, you guys fly back down to where he's at. Still hasn't moved. His crew is now seeing you both approach. They're tucked back in. In the duration of you talking the first time, they've kind of calmed down with the realization. as you approach, they kind of hush about a conversation they were having amongst themselves and look up to you guys.
Hello again.
My associate here has told me you guys are willing to
Give us
export
a ride.
Yeah, willing to give us a ride for a very reasonable price. I believe he told you we were looking to go to one of the prismatic orders.
Yes, he said you were looking for the purple prismatic order. We quoted him 6 winds worth of journey for 40 gold a person. And then there will be further discussion as far as finder's fees on anything we come across.
Have you guys traveled to, or be willing to travel to is it the Citadel of Ice and Steel?
Yeah.
That we might perhaps have a visit with the Great Caliph?
We have ventured there a few times. I'm not sure that the winds. I've never met with the Great Caliph, but know the place. We could get you there.
And about how long would that journey be?
Ask the navigator. Ask the navigator.
She looks.
Okay.
She looks up. Still cloaked, paying you less mind than the captain is, who seems pretty okay with your drunken state. And that he's willing to make a deal. He says, given time, and again, like everything else, winds change subtly and swiftly. So these are quotes. You know, we could be thrown off by storms and other things worth exploring. Given the last journey, the Citadel of Ice and Steel's roughly 4 winds. 4 winds from where Calypso currently is.
And how much did you say wind was?
We don't rank by winds necessarily. Prices are given by what we think we might encounter on the journey.
No, I'm sorry. Earlier, you told us a wind is roughly...
It's a roll of a dice. A wind could be anywhere from like 2 hours, an hour, to 2 or 3 days.
Okay. So we're looking anywhere from...
Yeah. The winds themselves change speed. It's more a wind would be a change in direction or like a current. So it's more, we're going to take this current that moves at a steady speed, however long it takes us to get to our next current. Thus the legs of the journey and the winds are all rolled on.
I see. But none of you have ever visited the Great Caliph yourself, or?
No.
Okay.
We've been guests in his welcome hall. Dined with some of the people around, but once we delivered, we stayed for a day to recuperate and went about the next delivery.
Well, I think that sounds like a plan. Man. Stan.
Mm-hmm.
I thought your name was Tusktooth.
And
It's well, call me Will.
Will.
where there's a
Alright,
will,
Willie.
there's a way.
Willingham, but prefer Will.
Like Travis.
Can't say if there's a Willingham, there's a way. It doesn't make any sense. I have to say if there's a will, there's a way. Alright, fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sign us up.
Well, if that's the case, when do you want to leave?
Give us the night. Or so. How long does it take you to get your ship ready?
Yeah. Well,
Our ship is ready to board. As I said, our last journey was It's been a little while. We've been docked long enough that we're ready to take to the air again.
Well, let's drink tonight, and I call over the waiter for another round.
She brings over another bottle of wine that sits at the table. They begin to pour it, collect between the group.
Mm-hmm.
In total, there are 8 people that are sitting in this corner booth, all of which are kind of on the booth that circles up to the entrance, where you guys are currently standing.
Okay. That's what I was gonna ask. While we're sharing a drink with them,
You'll pull 2 chairs over from table nearby.
yeah, sit them down.
The second wine bottle is brought though to share amongst so many people.
That's right.
As the wine bottles are delivered though, they look to you as you had summoned them and says, "These two are on the house for your performance."
Thank you. And I asked them as we, pour out. Wait, is the wine just for them?
She brought 2 bottles of wine. You said another round. They would, if you wanted something, she could have brought you something.
Sorry. If not, nope. For us, I pull out one of my bottles of rum.
Okay.
Right. Pour us some.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Change
Oh
plans.
wait, never mind. I don't pull out my rum.
Change your fucking plan.
I'm gonna pull out my rum. He's pulling out his.
I completely forgot that I bought all this fucking Fey wine. So I say, let's drink, and it's a call of where I pour out the drinks from like the rest of that last one I had.
Okay. All right. Everybody gets a touch of the Fey wine. They hold their glasses.
What is Fey wine?
It's a wine.
It's an expensive wine that when he drinks it, he can read Sylvan.
Yeah. And I wasted it all.
Okay.
Sylvan.
As the drinks are poured, the captain holds the glass to the air and says, "To new friends."
Throw it back.
Yeah, they all take it down. Overall, everyone enjoys the drink.
Oh, that's right. Up here,
Everyone
alcohol
gets a couple
ferments
minutes
very
of.
Yep. Alcohols are weird up here.
Okay.
Rum alcohols are more expensive. Still get you drunk, but they taste very, either very happy or very not happy. I don't know which one's which.
I'll say. I'll bring about. What do you guys think of any of the tales around the Elder Tempest?
Like I ran into the old people the other day. We're best friends.
Yeah. Go way back.
Oh, well,
Dog sitting
how
on
about we
Tuesday.
skip all the other stuff? But
They say, well, no experience on my end, but my first mate over here, Cedric, swears he had a run-in with it from a much
plot thickens.
younger age. He kind of sits up more, very, very strong-looking human. Again, bald hair and a longer beard. Seems to have seen better days. Pretty wind-torn and looks like a sailor would look like. And he says, about 25 years back, I was aboard a vessel traveling through the labyrinth winds just outside of the Hurricane Graveyard, when another storm, which we thought to be Maelstrom Void, came whirling by at an unusual rate of speed, to say the least. Few of us saw it. The ship took a lot of damage, but myself, as well as one of the other crew hands, swore we saw a winged serpent somewhere within the storm, many, many miles off in a small break. To this day, I do question whether or not I saw it, but one thing's for certain. If I saw the storm again, I would know.
I see.
Man, well, I'll tell you one thing. I believe you. You're not a liar, sir.
Says that goes a long way.
Just be like, did you look away from me? You just roll your eyes.
No,
I
no, I didn't.
I didn't say that.
And
I wanna
So-
eat this.
hypothetically, how does
Trying not
one?
to happen to me. I ate them all because I was hungry.
Self-control.
Do
How,
what you do.
how does
and I
one
got it.
go about navigating through or into a maelstrom such as that?
I know what to do.
Well, making it through, if it was truly a void maelstrom, few would survive. Those things come and rip ships asunder. It's nearly impossible a ship, let alone a person, makes it out of one. It's best to avoid them at all costs, and that's what we did. catching merely the edge of it. We were in a larger vessel at the time, something kind of similar to the Thunderfucks above us. But
Ah! And I just like say it out loud. The Thunderfucks.
you get a couple tables near you, kind of turn and look, and kind of like look. Just keep an eye towards you.
I say, All right. Well,
All right.
I'll pull out one of my bottles of rum for the table.
Okay. And the captain, Will, says, it's been many years since I've seen something like this. Last I had this, I was sailing out of Luskin. Under a different flag at the time, but
You just gave this guy
it was
a
a
giant
long...
Luskin.
I mean, rum pirates.
Says, yes, you didn't think I was from around here, did you?
I honestly do not know what to believe up here.
I get that.
Sorry, Cedric is the guy who faced the Elder Tempest.
Yep, that's the first man.
What's the name of the? Oh, that's first mate. What's the name of the captain?
Will.
Willingham.
Well, yeah, Willingham.
Do we wait? Is Luskin the place where?
It's like the port town in the north there.
Is that where the
Port City.
that like mage's order is at
Who's that?
in Luskin?
There's
Yeah.
a part in there.
Yep, Arcane Brotherhood.
Yeah, the Arcane Brotherhood. Okay.
Luskin is the Faerun Tortuga.
Gotcha.
Just like actually
Tortuga.
Calypso is very much Tortuga as well. But the airship version, and a little nicer because it has a lot more money flowing through it for the city itself.
It's gotta
Yeah.
be pretty.
So it is better, but nonetheless, he does say says so 40 gold per person is the agreement. However, this being your journey, we will hold you accountable for damages to the hull, damages to the ship at the end.
Yeah.
We may have some. I know you're new here, so I want you to understand up front. There's odds that we run through elemental storms, which at the basic shouldn't cause more than a few hiccups, some lightning strikes, or perhaps some off temperatures. He says, though, as well, even with the best navigator like we have, the clouds themselves offer a threat. They've been known to be anything but water vapor to noxious, poisonous, or hiding creatures, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
Say, well, they don't call us the Storm Slayers for nothing. And so,
You've been dying to say that.
they don't know shit about it. Did you not hear all the feats I told them
He
about?
says,
How many
we
fucking
heard your
things we
tales.
killed?
He says normally there's.
Look
He
at
says
this
normally there's
motherfucker.
a protection or more like a fee that we charge to ensure safe travel. We were waiving that, of course, in the event of an incident. We feel, based on your tales, that
Will be
you
the
will provide
protection.
enough help for us to get where we gotta go.
Of course. And
So-
I will pull out. No. I'll say, all right. So then, if we are all ready to leave in the morning, is that when you expect payment?
Says, yes, payment prior to boarding.
Very good.
So then we'll see you after your rest.
Yep.
We'll start making preparations to the ship. He turns to the navigator and says, make sure you get enough rest. You will be on the first set of winds. He said, yeah, here's what he says, understood, and then
What was
begins
this
to head
dude's name
upstairs.
again?
This is Will.
The captain
Yeah.
as well.
Captain Will.
What was the ship? That's the,
This is Tanachar's fate. I say all right. And I'll say you guys can keep that bottle of rum. The rest of whatever's there.
Say appreciate it. And he pours another round out of it before corking the bottle. About half full still after everyone's had some. Says appreciate it, but after this, we're all hands on deck.
I will then say, all right, Shogo, do you think you can make it back up to the?
Look at you, just like this.
Okay.
He's completely spaced.
Um,
I was like, oh, what'd you say?
I say, Chogo, we're going back to the room now, okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna keep drinking. I grab his rum.
So at what point does he have to do like constitution checks?
He's
for
already
being
drunk.
hungover?
At this time, he's just drunk. But we'll say at this point, we'll say make a Constitution saving throw to maintain or to see if you're past the tipping point of unconsciousness.
That's what's I'm good.
You're professional.
I do this off.
While he's getting completely trashed, I'll actually look and see if I can locate Bulbous.
Okay. Make a perception check.
28.
This late in the night, you do not see him in there. People are still coming and going from here. Another group has kind of walked in off the street, and it's getting there. Place is getting rowdy as people are getting drunker. But again, there's no Bulbous inside.
Don't see Bulbous. Alright, I'll say, alright, Chogo, bet you can't race me back to the room.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's
Are you kidding me? I can get to the room so much faster than you.
Doubt it.
I am already there, and I just fucking go.
boots of
Bro, like,
speed.
get out of my way, I gotta go. And I'm just like, I don't even think to use my broom. I'm running up the stairs.
I grab his broom.
You don't have my broom.
You wouldn't have it, like, would it not just be out?
It's
Or?
probably in my bag.
He's got it with
If
him.
you grab it.
Oh, okay, then
You
never
guys
mind.
were sitting, so you just stowed away your.
Oh, yeah,
your
never mind,
stuff.
never mind then. I thought, you
No,
had
just,
it
like,
with you,
coasting.
and you just, like, dropped it to run.
Oh shit! In that case, I'd have thanked you. I was like, no. At least I got down and like sat down right.
Yeah.
And I was just like knocking people out of the way at this point.
Okay.
Uh,
You
I'll-
tear
I'll
away.
take-
There's
Yeah.
like as someone coming down the stairs as he rounds the corner to begin his run up the stairs. You see someone come falling down the stairs as you push the first person
I dimension door to the room.
into the room.
No, right outside the door.
Okay. And as you turn the corner, you're like you got the beat on him. You puff of smoke. You appear on the third floor in front of the room. You make it there in like maybe a round, 2 rounds.
I got
Okay,
a lot
like
of
your boots or
movement.
nothing.
He's got a lot of movement.
It's less than. Well, wait. What is your movement?
So with the aiming of the quickening, my speed is double. So my normal speed is 35 plus.
71.
Wait, oh yeah. So it says 70 on here. I think I put the amulet into my calculator.
Okay.
So I've 70 movement per turn.
Alright.
That's
Just delayed us
so
20 minutes.
total of
140.
I'm so sad.
210.
I mean, you get to save money.
230.
I don't know.
Can
It
you?
doesn't
Because
say
you
that.
can
210.
action dash and bonus action
Yeah.
dash.
So 210.
That's 140.
70
210.
plus 70
Meeting this case.
140 plus
70.
70 210.
Wait, how do you get another 70 in there?
I have my
His
bonus
normal
action
movement
dash.
is bonus
my-
action is action. That's 3 70s.
I can use my action to dash and I use my bonus action to dash. And my
Got
my
you.
movement.
Yeah, my bad. Okay. I'm like thinking like you're already running with your action. What do you mean? All right, never mind. I get 500.
To any extent, the swiftness of that, he somehow manages to bamf up into the front of the door as you round the corner.
I mean, if I could think to use my broom, I definitely couldn't think to cast haste out of my deck.
No.
It's fine. I'm not happy.
Say up. Looks like you owe me a drink.
Is there any dim light or darkness near me?
Not,
Actually, you
not
probably-
off of the room areas. Everything is pretty lit out
Okay.
in this hallway. At this time, you guys use it. Use your key into the keyhole. The door cloud. The clouds shift to create the doorway. which then opens with the key.
When I get up there, I get on the stone telling Victor and Varys that we're going to the room now. We have our transportation for tomorrow.
Okay.
As you guys all meet and convene, you get your long rest for the night. Short transfer, whoever it is, maintaining what it is. At this point, you guys all
Probably let Trogo sleep first.
wake up at your
It's like we need to watch for an in, right?
normal time.
We're in an inn full of pirates.
You do know as you pull the key out into your room from even the door on the other inside, it does reform back into just a stone wall with a keyhole in it.
Creepy.
I ain't trust nobody.
No windows, nothing in this room. It's all solid stone. Though nice. It's a nice enough room. 2 beds, and then floor for some. And you guys get your long rest
I sleep in a meditative trance state like this. Real namaste.
with your head just
legs crossed.
It's
like
drool.
I'm drunk as shit.
Wakes up with severe back problems.
I'm
Like he
I'm
wakes up
definitely-
still drunk in 4 hours,
definitely
right? You're not
gassed,
sober.
I'm sober. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine.
You just keep saying that. Nobody asked you. Guys, I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm good.
He's still asleep.
I have a
Alright,
fast
well-
metabolism. I have a else metabolism.
Long rest achieved. You guys are gonna go. What are you guys doing?
Going up to the I'll
Which you now have your 6th level spell slot back. You guys are gonna be back max.
right before we pass out, I just fill them in. We're going with these guys to the Citadel. They're giving us transportation, 40 gold apiece. We will have to cover any damages to the ship, so we got to make sure that we are defending the ship.
Yeah, you can use mending on this ship.
Yeah, we can just fix the ship.
Oh wait.
It's a lot of mending, but yeah, we could do it.
Mending's only a foot, so as long as it's within this big,
I mean,
You can
it's a
mend it.
cantrip.
We can each
Yeah,
just stand next to each
boom,
other and
boom,
just
boom, boom, boom.
mend and mend. Look at that. We broke it. We broke the system.
I'm gonna.
You fix the ship.
I would have done
A
this the
single
night
break
before.
or tear.
That might be a little bit.
I
If it's nothing too serious, we could mend it. But like,
I'm doing a
It
hero's
can
feast in the
physically
morning.
repair a magic item
Okay.
or construct, but it doesn't restore magic to it.
you guys wake up to a bountiful breakfast served by your druid who casts Hero's Feast to provide food.
Oh,
Roll
yeah.
2d10.
I drink all the gravy.
I don't know what's gonna happen, and time doesn't matter, so this might just last forever. So
You still need, you will still get tired, but the idea is you just sleep when you sleep, and then you don't. There's no night or day. Once you're on these ships, there's the sequence of time is going to be very loose.
So, like,
it doesn't seem.
something that lasts 8 hours might actually last the entire day, or...
In the sense that you guys don't have any way to track time. It's going to make the sense out of time, so you...
But we would have a feeling, like, right? Like, we feel this magical effect go away.
It's not a magical effect.
No. Like, if I
You
cast an
know,
enchantment on myself,
Oh, yeah.
it says it lasts
The
8
Yeah.
hours.
spells still wear out, but that still is not... I mean, if you took the time to methodically every 8 hours cast something on yourself, then yes, I would allow that to be tracking time. But, again, it's not...
I got you.
Unless you are choosing to do it for the purpose of that, or you guys tell me a clever way that you are trying to track time, that'll work. Otherwise, time is going to be something I can track.
No, it's more of a thing. I was confused. If I cast something that lasts 8 hours on me, it still only lasts actually 8 hours,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't actually
No,
last
correct.
16 hours because time slowed.
No.
Okay.
Because time is literally, it is a man-made construct. It does not exist. Therefore,
That's not true.
Oh,
Time
this
is-
guy.
Time
I
is a
mean,
thing that exists.
progression exists though.
Hours and minutes are a man-made thing.
yeah, but even then it's not. It's still, it depends. I disagree. I'm sure
Philosophy indeed.
Before we get into it, I just disagree. Because in the end, nothing's going to happen or matter, and it's just going to keep going. And what is time? There's no start or end. There's nothing.
You consider there to be a start of the universe? Then
I don't
there's
know.
a start of
Why can't it have always been? And will always be?
time.
Entropy?
I don't know. That's kind of how I feel. But you don't know anything about it. We don't know. There's no way to prove anyone right or wrong, so it's just what it is.
Helps us structure our days at least.
It does. It does.
So-
There's purpose for it. It should
Yeah.
exist. I'm not saying that. I'm just
Okay,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a man-made construct.
And the reason I know from even when I just traveled, as far as like the daytime thing goes, if it never gets dark and you don't have a way to track time, it gets fucked up. I watched this like whole thing where a guy locks himself 72 hours in like a room where there's a light on.
Vsauce.
Yeah, the Vsauce one.
Yeah.
And he starts losing it.
Yep.
Yeah, because he has no way to. He had provided nothing to track time at all. And so he like would think he'd wake up and he was talking and he'd be like, yeah, I think I slept for like 8 hours, and he slept for like 3 hours, and it starts fucking with you because you're like, okay, well I'm probably getting kind of close because I'm starting to think about it, and then it was crazy. I thought it was kind of cheap because he was just where he was, but anyway, the idea is there, and that's kind of what's happening here. Where unless you do something to methodically track time, on my end, I'm just gonna track the time.
No, that's fine. I was thinking more of, I was making sure I wasn't getting it wrong in terms of
Correct. Yeah.
times like doubled or tripled sometimes or something. Okay.
So
It's not like the Feywild where you come back 20 years older than you left.
that's gonna be an exciting future. If you guys end up there, one of your options.
I ain't going to Feywild. I don't want to be old. Alright. Is everybody good? We just get up in the morning.
You guys get up.
Yeah,
You guys head up to
I'll look in the inn, see if I see anybody from that crew that was sitting there last night.
At this time, you guys feel fully rested. No one's. There's still people that are drinking. There's no band playing,
I'm drinking all the
and in general, things have calmed down. There's still people getting rowdy and drunk. It's still the same dimly in areas, but bright in the middle chamber. It just is a little less crowded.
I'm looking specifically at anybody from that crew that was sitting there last night.
I'm sorry, from which crew?
That's the Fate, the Tanish's Fate, Will's crew.
No.
Nobody's
No.
around.
They're all up as shit. Hands on
You
deck.
do see a handful of people that are still drinking that look to be part of the Thunder Chasers crew. Or,
Okay.
Yeah, them
Anybody-
shit, you be looking
you do
for
not see
Any
Balls.
gnomes?
No, you do not see
Okay.
Balls or any part of his table.
Okay. Then I'll say, all right, guys, let's get up to the roof.
Alright, you guys begin your ascent. You guys come to a closed door with a individual standing guard. He's got a kind of a large swords, short swords on his sides. He holds his hands, says, "And who are you boarding with?"
Tanishar's Fate.
Will!
Boarding Will, Captain Will, and
Yeah.
Tanishar's Fate. Alright, we'll have an escort. He knocks on the door twice behind him. It opens. Two more figures are standing on the other side who begin to escort you towards the Tanishar's Fate. Being on this level now, where you were looking at it from a bit of a distance, the dock itself is probably like 200 feet wide, and it's just massive. These ships are, being this close to it now, I guess comparatively, if any of you have been on like a cruise liner or anything like that, I don't know if you ever have.
Yeah.
That's definitely closer to how the warship is comparatively. It is just this massive, like 6-7 story bit like thing. You see various like holes on the sides where we would know them to be cannons and stuff sticking out of, but that's still not. Gunpowder is still at an early stage for you guys, so it's clearly a very developed war vessel. You see some large like ballistae hanging off, and other sorts of structures like at the very top, but you can't even see on the ship where it is. The other ships themselves appear to only be 1 or 2 in depth, and it's another weird sensation where none of you, growing up in Waterdeep, you've seen some shipwrights and ships being built, but when they're not in the water, the hull of the ship is it's a lot taller than you would think it would be.
Yeah.
So they do look to be multi-level on this plane, considering they need to be. They're modeled, but not the same.
Yeah.
So you guys make your way over to the Tanishars. You do see occasionally Jin, who are kind of monitoring you, but as you're being escorted, they don't seem to be minding. You are brought up to the ship, where you see Captain Will, who notices your approach, will kind of gives a wave to the individuals, says allow them to board. The 2 people who are manning the deck kind of step aside, and there's a gangplank that then walks you, as you guys all walk on and board the ship.
All right. I would have collected
I'm groggy. I'm just like,
4 platinum for everyone.
You did have a fire breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, wait,
Like I said, that's why I drank all the gravy.
Or 40 gold.
What was your D10 rolls?
I got 10.
10? Alright, so everyone has 10 temporary hit
2d10, right?
points.
Yeah.
Temp.
You have advantage on wisdom saving throws, can't be poisoned or diseased, and
Can't be frightened.
Can't be frightened.
Nice.
Alright, so I'll just take my poison,
I-
jam it, and jam it.
Everyone just mark off 40 gold.
This is fine.
Or do we have a party fund still? Can you just grab 160 gold out of that?
It's in a weird state because it doesn't have updates from the.
Then everybody, I mean, everyone has personal gold, right? We can just give up
Just
40
use
gold.
your personal gold for ease of tracking right now.
All right, so
Okay.
everyone gives up 40 gold.
Alright, you all aboard. As you do, he is standing. He kind of meets you at the edge of the gangplank. As you do, you individually hand over a small coin purse or however you hand over.
Yeah, I would have put it in a bag or
4
something.
platinum
and
is the same.
Oh.
So.
yeah, but I feel like 4 platinum shows that we're all high rollers.
Handing over the money to him for the transportation, he allows you to board. The ship itself is about 15 feet wide by, say, 60 feet, 70 feet long. I started to draw the diagram, but I didn't like it, so I don't have it right now.
I'm just surprised you're
Does
not
it look
using
like
a
I
ship.
know.
Does
I
it look
can't-
like that ship in there?
Depending on which ship it was going to be, I have one of those in mind.
But we picked the one that doesn't?
No one's gonna blame you if you just use it.
I'm thinking. I think based on for size purposes, the Viking ship probably matches the size the best. What I want to do is because of some important features of the ships and things that might happen, I either have to find a way to use the ship and add it. I'm gonna see. I still am playing with it, so I started. Yeah, there wasn't a lot of time between last Thursday and this game because I was busy all weekend, and the golf outing of Monday it was like, well, shit, here we go in game again. So
Oh yeah, you guys play on Thursday.
yeah, it's weird.
Weird.
It actually worked out the best for me.
Yeah, it was the only day I had. Yeah, this week was the same.
That was a good thing. I wouldn't have been able to make it anyway last week then, because Thursdays is patch night. Well, it's the last.
Well,
Thursday of the
Monday I
month.
think
That's
was
tough.
we had an alternative on Monday, but it wasn't ideal because you couldn't make it. He couldn't make it.
The one before last week.
I think Monday would have been rough for one person, but
I think that was Joe. I think I don't remember.
and
what
you
it
would
was,
have had to call it off or something, right?
Which I think no. That's okay. Either way, I don't remember what happened exactly.
It worked out.
We
Thursday
made
ended
it
up being the
work.
best day.
Yeah, it worked out. So, boarding the ship, you do see it's a very kind of tight in design. You have some crates piled on one side. There's a secondary deck with a steering, kind of like a captain's roast. This is the one that has the sails, so it does have a mast with a crow's nest at the top. As well as what are now let down to be 2 large sails, a top sail as well as secondary ones, and then the Jacob's ladders that kind of spin down from the sides of it. The bow, which leads out to a large singular point on the vessel, and these 4 crystals that are sitting on each side. There's a back propeller that is angled straight backwards, and then the top sails. So the other final features, there's a ballista that is currently mounted in the front of the ship, and then at the top level that's about all you can see. You do see where there's the stairwells that lead up onto the level where the navigator is at currently. There's another stairs to the other side that lead down, and in between the two there is a doorway that is currently closed.
Almost.
Huh?
Almost. They're
Oh.
so close.
We're totally going on break when it gets here.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was hoping so.
So then, let me think what else. All right. Well, those are your definable features for the sake of the vessel itself.
Okay.
So, boarding. He says the crew bunks below. He says my chamber as well as the navigators are in this doorway here. We specialize in moving swiftly, so should the winds be in our favor, we may get there pretty quickly.
Awesome. Excellent.
That being said, is there anything else you guys need to do before we set sail?
No. Let's get
No?
going.
All right. You watch as he steps towards the mast in the center. There's a smaller, now that you're watching him, there's a small circular panel kind of dug into the wood that he watches. He holds his hand out, he touches, it begins to glow blue around his fingertips, very faintly and then bright. And as he does, you hear a faint humming sound as each of the crystals begin to kind of shift and flicker with light. As it does, it kind of like creates a little bit of lift on the one side, and like part of the ship like jettisons up, then the other one balances, and eventually all four kind of pull. And as it sits up about a foot, the gangplank kind of falls to level. You watch as people on the dock begin to pull it aside. You hear the sound of propellers beginning to like woof, 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 as the one that on the rear begins to start to spin. He looks back up towards the navigator, says, "Irva, take it away." And as that happens, he removes his hand, sets to that, and you watch as she pulls down a lever that is next to it, and the ship begins to kind of tilt and sail off in a direction.
I scurry up to the crow's nest.
Okay. You running over to one of the Jacob's ladders that's on the side would be the quickest one. You begin to kind of hurry up towards the top. No one's currently up there. You do see there is a spyglass that is kind of mounted onto it, looking off to the front of the ship, to the bow. Looking out, you see, you guys do feel gravity kind of shift. You feel you're still connected to this boat and attached to it as it being a large vessel nearby. But it's still a very light sensation. Crystal's humming. You guys begin to sail off upward. Okay. Is there anything you guys want to talk about before I start rolling legs of the journey? Is there anything as far as crew? You saw as they've tied down these sails to catch the winds. You guys take off, and as you guys get about 200, 300 feet away from the city, you feel kind of a lurch on the ship as it begins to kind of make a hard, like, right towards the port, or the port of the ship.
Port side.
Port side of the ship. It begins to kind of like shift and almost roll a little bit, which again, it's a strange sensation. As it turns, you can feel it shift, but you're weighted still down to the ship itself. As, again, there's no gravity and you just stick to the ship. So
we're not pulled sideways.
Yeah, so you're not falling sideways or anything, but you do notice it shifting as you have perspective of the city you were
so
just
barrel
in.
rolls are not dangerous.
They are not dangerous. You begin to take off, and you feel, though, as what you now realize to be these labyrinth winds fill the sails as they kind of burst forward with that. And the first
I want
labyrinth
to
wind you were going to
attempt to get used to this
They're
lighter
coming up to Spring Street.
lighter gravity
Okay.
and like
I don't
practice
wanna
like
get confused.
doing acrobatic stuff like jumping around and I don't know, running.
Okay. So okay.
Get used to moving around.
It feels, for all intents and purposes, it feels normal. And depending on the longevity of the trip, you wouldn't be a proficient or anything in moving in it, but it doesn't hinder you.
Never mind that. I'm thinking we have to like.
No, there are weird things could happen as a result of its existence, but nothing. It doesn't hinder any of your normal.
Obviously, that's why the gnomes have no legs because they skip leg day since there's no gravity up there.
They have no legs.
Their legs are really like small and shriveled comparatively to
They're
their
upper.
torsos.
Yeah, their upper bodies are jacked.
These are some weird looking fucking gnomes.
I know.
They are very strange people.
Because all they do is lift hammer and steel and like fucking hammer ships all day, but they never
They
use
don't
their
have any
legs.
base. They're all core and fucking upper body.
Yeah, their legs are just dwindling little sticks that
They all have
flop around.
apex, just ripped, tone.
Yeah. They're still tiny though.
They're all Joe Swansons.
Later.
They just have to use
Alright.
legs.
So, the navigator taking the first helm. It is currently a gale worth of wind, which is fairly strong. It's about the strongest, like, to navigate before it's getting a difficult process.
I changed my mind since I don't think there's gonna be any benefits of running around. Instead of doing that, I'm constantly keeping a lookout for anything on the sides of the ship
Make a perception check.
that.
I'm in the crow's nest. Keep in mind too.
So you notice too. So the navigator, while he took the helm of liftoff as well as steering. At this point, he's moved himself towards the bow of the boat, where he is, or bow of the ship, where he's kind of just looking off with very intensive purpose. He is standing at the very front, in front of even the ballista that is mounted up there, and it's just, you watch as he's just kind of perceiving the area around him, and he's just sitting there moving. Over the course of the first hour being aboard the ship, You occasionally see him, he'll raise a hand, and as it does, you feel the ship sort of turn. You watch as he'll raise another one, and as he clinches, the ship begins to like roll slightly. Moving through, cutting through the clouds as you go. Everything is very different, it's a very weird experience as you're sailing through these various colored clouds and
There
stuff.
you go. I'm assuming they're just packed up
I'm
separate.
not- Is the captain out?
The captain is who is now steering the vessel.
Oh, I thought Herbo was.
No, Irva is the one who's at the front of the boat now, who is commanding. As you gather,
Oh,
she's
I got you.
she's
She's
flagged,
giving signals to him at this. I thought it was like a magic thing. Though. She was standing at the front, and the ship's just obeying her hand signals.
No.
Okay.
Alright, let's take our break so we can eat. Go to smoke, go to the bathroom, etc., etc.
This looks legit for somewhere I've never tried.
Sorry, my perception was 16.
Thank you.
19.
As long as your mind are the size, I'll need to know.
Did you get a Euro?
Your plate.
Euro. I was gonna say that looks fun.
Your plate.
Oh, the fries.
Is that 2 pitas, you know? That whole deal.
Fries are good.
This will be lunch tomorrow. Yeah, fries are good. I like me a good crinkle cut.
As long as they're crispy, that's soggy.
Mm-hmm. They are.
If they had traveled much longer, they might not have stood a chance.
Yeah.
Oh, I think the first driver canceled, and that's what made it end up taking longer.
I was gonna say I've had several times I've ordered on DoorDash, and I've gotten a text after my delivery time, like my first estimate, and they're like, "Sorry, your driver's waiting on food." And then like 10 minutes after that, like I get a text like, "Hey, your driver's almost there with food," and I'm like,
No, yeah, mine was just like, oh, to change drivers, so I think
It said
that's
that?
yeah.
So does the driver like go there and pay for it, and then you pay them?
No, it
back,
all
or-
goes through the
Yes.
app.
So what it sounds like, and so what happened on one of the times is they said the driver had an issue with the restaurant. And I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that means. But she told me when she pulled up, I guess they have a card, like a
Yeah.
DoorDash gives them like
Like a red card.
a red card, and so whenever you pay for it, DoorDash will load up that card for the amount that is supposed to go through on the transaction.
Yeah.
So then they'll just pay for it with the card.
So do you think the driver has to call in the order?
No.
So I'm not.
I don't think so.
I think DoorDash has their own place because I've been called by somebody, like they were like, "Hi, I'm like so and so with DoorDash," and it was not the name of my driver, and they were like, "We just want to verify, you marked this off on your order, but it's supposed to come with 2 sides. You didn't choose any sides." So well, that's what I told them. Like, it didn't give me the option to choose sides, but
What's happening?
they like confirm my order, so I feel like they call it in. Like DoorDash has like a call center that just gets orders in and calls it into those.
Weird. If that's the
They
case.
do have a call center.
Yeah.
Because I've had to call them to change like my address. Because I had it set here. And
Does it sound like it's in America?
I was like, oh.
Huh?
I don't know.
Did the person speak English very well?
They spoke it well enough, but it
Hello, this is Nathan.
I mean that in a weird way, but I am curious if that's like a.
I don't know. It was good English. I'll say that. Like I understood what they're saying, and but it sounded like they're speaking off a script. I was like, "Oh, hello, Randy. We're so happy that you're working with us, and blah 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 blah." And, like just lots of customer
Please
service.
just give me
Oh.
food.
Yeah, like
I'm doing this so I don't have to talk to people.
this sucks.
I think my favorite thing with DoorDash is just like a nice, well-formatted menu for everything.
Yeah, they have
Like-
that already set up for you.
That's one. It's like it's pretty well done.
Can you order like Starbucks drinks and stuff with it?
Not yet.
That's weird. I mean, Starbucks isn't like a restaurant, but they have food.
I saw Starbucks on it.
Is it on DoorDash? Then yeah, you probably can get the drink. I just didn't know.
Josh, you could probably use that big one and tell us to ignore the bottom 2.
I thought about
tiers
that
of it.
too. I thought about maybe trying to modify it a little bit.
Or just be like, ignore the bottom 2 tiers.
I know, I'll get them.
Because it kind of sounds like if it's got the 2.
I want to use them, so
Just put.
I mean, it's like the best opportunity you're getting
No,
in
I
this
know it was.
campaign.
it is. I know. And I thought it was hilarious when I opened it. I was like, "This is awesome," because I knew you guys were going to Planet of Air. I knew there'd be ships there, and I'm like, the hardest part though is going to be figuring out how to navigate it if there's a fight.
That's the
Because there's a
thing.
ton of direction.
Don't navigate.
I don't know.
That'll be good.
This is a really good sized Euro plate. There's so much Euro meat here. I can make 3 Euros.
See, I couldn't tell. It's covered by a lot of onion.
Oh yeah, I mean I did the uncover.
Yeah. I do this thing though where I don't eat it like a Euro like you are. I tear off the pita and eat like mini Euro sandwiches with it. Like I load it, like so this is literally I do this, fold it, put the meat in it, onion in it, dip it, and eat it.
It's like a Euro slider.
Yeah. Don't know why.
You should work for
got
Arby's.
You got all the basic concepts there. You have the pita, Euro.
Dude, I'll fuck with Euro sliders. Our next restaurant concept we're talking about doing might be Greek.
There's like a lot of Greek places opening up right now. It's weird.
There's not a lot of open like where I'm at in Illinois right now.
I mean, like every family restaurant is a Greek restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know.
We're looking to do more like a farm to table restaurant, but with like Greek food.
Farm to table. I mean,
You just wanna make-
You order all your produce in that day.
It's like it's close to like knowing the farms. It's being more localized, like being able to like relate and tell the story where the food comes from, and knowing it's like sourced and.
I guess that would be a really big selling point for some people out in Tinley.
It's a bit honestly Chicago everywhere. It's becoming a thing. It's a real hipster thing to do. Just is.
Mm-hmm.
Some fucking avocado toast. It'll be fine. Let me tell you,
I like avocado
fuckers eat
toast.
that shit. Yeah.
I don't know why.
I like avocado.
I was say avocado's nice.
It's not nice. It tastes like a fucking booty hole.
I disagree. I don't think it tastes like booty hole.
I disagree.
It's just like,
A lot more
I
people would eat booty.
I
I feel
disagree.
like a lot of people are
Paying a lot of money to have
So-
toast with avocado.
True. I didn't think about it as soon as I said it. I
I
was
was like, I think it's like more widely talked about than a lot of things it should be.
yeah. This world that we live in.
Yeah. Remember, invest all your money into weed.
Into weed?
Yeah.
Why?
Corporate cannabis.
Oh.
And Activision Blizzard. They've been up a consistent 10% for me.
What is that?
Blizzard,
Blizzard and Activision became one company like
yeah.
10 years ago. Yeah.
So they got the new Call of Duty coming out with the new PUBG shit on it, and then Blizzard's just Blizzard.
Being Blizzard.
It's the first Call of Duty game I've thought about getting
Yeah.
since Modern Warfare 4. Like all
it
of it.
has the Fortnite adaptation.
No. I wouldn't call it a Fortnite adaptation, but
It's way more of a
way more of like a PUBG adaptation. And yes,
A battle royale.
have you ever played PUBG?
No.
It sucks. It's a buggy pile of shit, but it's
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
So, and Fortnite is for fucking 9-year-olds. I don't want to play
I
Fortnite.
wouldn't say it's for 9.
Everybody plays Fortnite. Everybody.
I know.
But
It's
the
just
logic-
it's just different.
Yeah.
There's not the focus on how good of an FPS it is. It's more
It's
of
more of a building game
Yeah.
than a
Oh,
shooter.
it's
So
more
it's-
than you have to kill people in it to win. Like,
no,
Yeah, but,
no,
like,
it's more
a
of a
fight
building game.
is-
I watched the one guy I go to Gen Con with every year. His son streams Fortnite, and
What's his name?
I watched
Ralph.
yeah
Yeah.
Ralph. He literally brought his Xbox down to Gen Con so he could get his games in for Fortnite in between like doing stuff for the con, And every match I saw him play, he won.
He won that. Oh shit.
First place every single match he played, and he basically had like one strategy. He like, I always go to this one place because people rarely try to go there. I get to loot it really easily, and then he just slowly makes his way like PUBG strategies. Like slowly makes his way in from the outer circle.
Yep.
But he like whenever somebody starts fighting him, he never shoots at him. He just fucking starts building. Next thing you know, he's got like some sort of massive fucking building, and he's sitting at the top of it, and then he starts pulling out his weapons and killing the person.
It's just not my style. Mm-mm.
And like, but that's the thing. Like, that's like a good deck game. He builds so fast, so quickly.
Any game like that, the more you play,
Mm-hmm.
the better you get. I mean, I'm not saying you're winning every game every time, but that's like for me, League of Legends, when I play, like, the reason that so many people I think suck at it is because they don't know what every champion does.
Yeah.
Once you know every champion's abilities and like how to play it, like know what they do, I think you automatically just become much better.
Just play against that champion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the new champions come out, the whole reason that they're so fucking broken is because nobody knows how to play against them.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's like Alma was like that. If you don't play it every day, you just the skill gap just starts becoming larger for the higher elos.
I played a couple of games of League not too long ago.
I thought about getting back into it.
Doing better at it than I was.
Really?
You know, when I was playing in the past. You know,
I did some like ARAMs and like there was like 10 new champions. I didn't really know. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know what this engagement does.
just run into them.
Yeah.
Like they changed the Kali. She's got like teleports now. So not really teleports. She's like you do some crazy stuff.
Well, that's what I love.
Cross map stuff or just
Yeah. I like cross map. It's like in a team fight, she can like dive the carry, disappear, bounce out, and like dive the carry again. It's fucking dumb.
I actually really enjoyed when I came back into it and they had reworked Katarina.
Yeah.
I really liked all the reworks.
Yeah, the reworks are good and they're necessary because they make them competitive again.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool. Like
Like, I
her
remember
kit
when
now,
they-
like resetting the Shenpo if you pick up the daggers.
Yeah.
So now it just adds a whole element of making sure that, like, you don't necessarily always lead with Q, because it always bounces the dagger behind the person. So sometimes you might want to jump to them, throw up a dagger on top of you, then Q them so it goes back behind them, like the direction you came from.
The way you can,
So that way when you pick up this dagger, you can Shenpo away from. So like you can get free harass without getting too much damage taken against like ranged ones and stuff.
I just miss playing Talon all the time. It was so fun.
Yeah.
the new talent is really cool.
Just
New
fucking
Talon?
parkour
I haven't
over
played
walls.
Talon since he could jump over walls. So
That's something.
Okay, no,
that
no.
talent is strong. Well, he was strong like
Dude.
4 months ago.
he was strong always. All I had to do fucking was just smash all the buttons and you just killed someone. Oh, there's a carry, just you
Oh.
fucking E, auto, reset with Q, W, alt, they're dead.
Yeah.
That's it. And you just as quick as you could push all 4 keys, they were dead.
That's
And the E silenced.
So they couldn't get away.
You
from
can't
it.
flash, can't do anything. And even if they flash, your R still is at the max range for flash.
Yeah.
Or you just chase them down, you hit them with another rake, and they're also dead.
Yeah. I miss the days of OP Riven before they changed Bloodthirster and it used to just stack damage, and I would always just build 5 Bloodthirsters and boots on Riven, and next thing you know you'd have all this fucking attack damage, and you would just do your combo and just blow up every single person,
Your shield.
and then you had so much
force
lifesteal,
cooldown.
so they'd be like trying to kill you and just be like, oh, full health again.
So when
Full
I
health
played
again.
Talon time, there was a point where like I had a full 10 or however many wins are on a win chart, like with all Talon wins, and they were all like 20 plus kill games with like 1 or 2 deaths. Like, so I like took it. And I was building a guide for Talon for Mobifier,
Is it more
Okay.
fun?
and so like I had taken clips from games and shit, and like was putting it into it to try and make it. It was so fun. But I remember just one of them like. I was like fed as shit. I got a quadra kill, and then like the enemy Tryndamere is running at me in mid lane. I was like maybe like 200 life, 2 or 3 bars, and like I just hit him with a Q and dropped him from 60% to 0 in just one Q because I was so fed and got me the penta. I was like, this is the perfect video to just.
Oh my god, the penta kills. I had such shit luck at first trying to get those pentas. I remember the one time I finally was so close to get my ranked penta. I was playing Tristana. My team did well. I was like super fed, and like I got all 4 kills in the fight. and the last person was like the Maokai that just nobody focused successfully. But he was running away, and I'm like chasing him down. Somebody on my team that had died in the beginning of the fight respawn, teleports the tower, flashes to get the last hit on this person that I had just W'd onto.
Were you playing AP?
No,
really?
no, AD.
AD. Yeah, I figured, but I know AP was just out of this.
I mean, I was at the carry role. That's why, like, the whole fight, my team protected me, and I just, like, mowed down their team. And then I was chasing down the Maokai to get that final pentakill, and that person teleported to the tower, then flashed to steal the penta from me and typed in haha, and I quit the game.
My best days were actually as like a support, but my buddy that I played with was like a plat one well, at the time I don't think that was Diamond existent.
Diamonds always existed.
Diamond,
It was
okay.
like Challenger. And
So he
stuff.
definitely was into Diamond because I didn't think he was ever into Challenger, but I know he was like higher than plat one at one point. But
Well, because they used to just do the numbered elos.
right.
Remember, so it was
Yeah.
like you were just 4,800 or you
Yeah.
were this elo.
But no, that's like when I was doing it was when I was in school.
Yeah.
I was like, Your first encounter on the ship, by the way, is 2 beholders flanking you.
Oh no. I ain't scared of no
Total
butt
anti-magic
holders.
ray.
Wait, doesn't that stop the ship?
Who knows?
Man.
Oh god, if Beholder comes on this plane, they just wreak havoc.
And then everything.
Every time they look at a ship, the ship goes
Well, would it? There's no gravity. It would just keep going.
with the wind.
It's just-
But it would lose its crystal orb things.
Whatever it would lose whatever those things do to the ship, maybe.
What is up? You know, we gotta remember that. I guess. Right?
There is no one. That's why, even reading this and because it's cool is all these different planes. So, to my portion, someone made these, I don't know, 15 to 20 page downloadable things about all the different planes, and they're pretty fucking it's all referenced and sourced and stuff, and I don't know, they're awesome. It helps piece everything together.
Those kind of sources do the job.
Alright, it's perfect. It's an easy, small read, small, and it doesn't give you all the stuff. It says here's what you would find here. Here are some details, maybe some hooks. Use what the fuck you want to use. Moving on, and that's where we are. And so it does. The hard part though is when you're reading the environment. Even for me, I'm just trying to wrap my head around so what the fuck would happen if you have no gravity, going everywhere, doing these things?
What if I cast reverse gravity?
Good question.
Oh!
Everybody
The
implodes.
spell fizzles.
Everything just gets pushed.
It's just-
No direction, just push.
Would you like to try it? Find out.
Please
No.
cast it. Cast it on me.
It's an area effect.
It's like
Yeah.
a giant area.
Cast it on the ship deck.
No. I'm not doing that.
Cast it in front of the ship.
I think I already blew my
And the-
6th level slot anyway.
Cast it in front of where the ship's going.
What's it today?
Huh?
What if you could change the labyrinth winds?
Control weather.
I don't think that would work.
I don't think I have that spell.
This
Control
whole, this
weather is
whole,
at 9th level.
This
Yeah, I was
whole
on that.
leg-
It's a way up there.
This whole leg just gets fucking stopped.
Alright, so
I blow really hard into the sails.
alright, so as you guys are on the ship, as it soars through the sky, you guys see clouds pass by. Most of them small in nature, some much larger. Again, varying color. Occasionally, you pass through one, and you kind of feel just the moisture of the cloud itself coat you as you continue.
Wait a minute.
For what?
There's no gravity. How does a cloud keep its shape full of water?
You know, it's
Good
best to
question.
actually just not ask these
And the answer is
questions.
just magic. And what's great about it is I can just say magic, and that's
Magic.
the answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, well, I choose to study this magic.
Good luck. You continue to fly, passing through clouds here and there. The entire time, for what is now you guys know to be hours, you watch as the navigator at the front, raising hands, fist occasionally, but overall is just still, constantly vigilant, constantly watching ahead where the boat is, undisturbed by anyone else, kind of roped off. Are you guys doing anything as you guys continue on this press of the first leg?
I'm staying vigilant up in this crow's nest.
Okay.
Look
Now,
through
are you
the-
like?
look through the things sometimes.
So my question is: are you constantly perceiving your surroundings for the
Yeah,
next,
like-
for however long it's going on?
I'll say pretty much. If there's the highest level of perceiving, I'm 1 or 2 levels below that.
Okay. But so you're
I'm
remaining
also-
on the crow's nest.
Yeah.
So you're up there for what has now been a few hours, but
Just
you're
chilling.
you don't see there's much else going on the deck. The captain is sitting at the helm of the ship, manning the steering wheel, as the orders. As you guys had a moment to look around before most of this, where the crew sleeps, it's very kind of thin, and you have to kind of almost hunch. The ceilings themselves only being about 6.5 feet tall, and then with the occasional brace of the ship, making you duck under various things. There's a few hammocks set up on either end, and then some small storage stuff. But overall, it seems that what you see up top is what you get. It's a very small vessel, considering everything. Though it does appear to be moving at a fairly high rate. As you travel, only some clouds catch up to you, and occasionally you pass through other clouds as you're following these winds. The ship banking back and forth at various times. You see that the two, they appear to be almost like, not rudders in the sense, but like they're clothed wings on the back that kind of shake up and down occasionally and shift how it is. They kind of look like Toothless's tail, like the attachment from How to Train Your Dragon, like that. That kind of help the banking of the ship. Okay, so continuing on your way.
I'm going to create a scroll for a cantrip.
You would need downtime for that.
But it says only a day. Wait, can I not just go down into the ship quarters while we're traveling? And...
If you are so you would take an entire day of doing it, and downtime is kind of like where it's on. Like you're in a place where you're focused on that. If you are shutting yourself out from anything that's going on and focusing on making this cantrip, you could spend a day on it.
Alright.
But again, anything that may or may not happen.
The only thing I want to say to this is that a level 1 spell takes 1 day, and then a cantrip takes 1 day.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Still.
Alright, then never mind. I want to be part of the journey, so.
Okay. And so at this time, as you guys are going, again, several hours into the journey, you hear a call from the navigator to the back. Says, "Storm clouds ahoy," and as you see, she's pointing off towards the right side of the, or towards the port side of the ship. You guys see.
Does it look like a giant void maelstrom?
No.
Okay. Looks like Kevin's butt.
Yep.
Okay.
You see a large storm, kind of like darkish blue and black in color, occasionally a crack of thunder. As it currently looks like the ship, based on the winds when you're traveling, you're going to clip the majority outside of what seems to be 2 miles long of a storm cloud. Mm-hmm. As you guys continue to get closer over the course of the next 10-15 minutes or so, still being in the distance, seeing it ahead, you feel as the ship kind of shifts, and you watch as, again, you're still upright completely, but you're shifting, so the ship is now kind of trying to move around. The storm itself still moving on a different wind or whatever sort. Seems like you're heading for a collision, depending on the navigation. As they look off to the left of the boat, and you see at this point all crew has come up from the bottom deck. Everyone seems to be on hands watching and waiting to see whether or not they're going to hit the edge of the storm cloud. As you perceive continuously off of this, you see to the far left what appears to be almost something the size of what the sun appears to be from Earth to where you see it. Just a bright, radiant light that's in the distance, maybe about 3 or 4 miles. No clouds around it at all. Nothing to it but this orb of just bright, radiant color.
I get on my crystal, like, hey, yo, there's light. Then it never goes out. There's a light.
I'll ask a crew member that's nearby, like, what's that over there?
You watch as they pull out, being near the captain, he pulls out a spyglass himself and kind of like looks to the
You don't
distance.
look directly into the sun?
As you guys crest around a cloud that you had, this bright light begins to shine. It becomes, for all you see, the sun that's kind of in the distance again. With the separation of no clouds, it's head towards it or head towards the sun. You hear as the captain exclaims to you, the name of that. Which I wish I could.
It's called a light biscuit.
Yep.
That's the nucleus of the plane.
Sorry.
Where the hell?
It is the Borealis Radiance. He says you use that as a pinpoint to kind of navigate, as it's one of the few things on this plane that isn't taken by the winds. Most think it's a portal to the positive plane, but few venture close enough, as us natives to Calypso don't necessarily meld with the Radiance.
Wait, it's called the Borealis
Radiance.
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 Is the positive plane like the material plane?
There is, on the level of planes that exist, there is a positive and a negative energy plane, which are less like you have the Shadowfell, which is going to be the closest plane to the negative energy plane that you could live on. But these planes are very much like uninhabitable, with the exception of beings of total necrotic being and like shadows and ghosts might be able to live on the negative energy plane, where positive energy plane is the same. You'd only find righteous deities, angels, and that's it. Anything else is pretty much destroyed. So
Cool. I want to live there.
you need to be purely good there to exist, to even survive there. That being the case, as you guys travel, so you're looking at, with no clouds or anything near it, it being the safest bet to get away from the storm cloud. But you do feel, as he starts to kind of wane towards it, you feel the shift kind of, and the ship go back as you guys are now heading towards the storm, where they're currently choosing to navigate through the storm versus
I'm going towards the Borealis.
toward the Borealis at this time.
Hey, just put on your sunglasses.
As I say, I mean, if it looks like we might start making contact with that cloud, I'm gonna cast a wind wall off of like that port side of the ship, blowing towards the cloud.
Okay. At this time, you guys are heading in. There's, as it's starting to kind of eclipse, and you guys are maybe several minutes to half hour away from hitting this. Which again, you don't know the time frames. Just giving you time frames for decision making. As you guys are getting close, and you know at this point it's hundreds of feet to your left as well as your right. There's almost entirely certain you're going to hit this unless you were to take a last minute turn and head towards the Borealis to go around it. Again, not their idea, or their idea is to
under it.
Their idea is to go through it.
They, at this point, you guys are seeing this thing is massive in all size. Unfortunately, whatever cloud it's being taken by, whatever stronger wind that has the majority of it, is blowing it pretty much right at you. You do see now, as you guys have not decided to bank away from it and head towards the radiance, that as it, whatever parts of the cloud are getting close enough to it, you see as that cloud starts to like vanish and like almost like evaporate away or like disintegrate the cloud itself that gets close to this portal of energy. As whatever being, as close as it gets, it starts to leave. So it's kind of like being carved out. And as you see that as the last thing, you guys hit the brunt of this large cloud. As you enter it, razor sharp icicles begin to kind of like barrage on it. Your wind wall goes up on which side of the ship?
Port side.
Okay, what does wind wall do?
It creates like a giant wall of wind that blows in that direction.
You can make like a dome shape out of it too, I think.
Oh, I can?
I think so.
If so, then I would do that around us.
It's been a while since
Let me,
we did that.
I have it marked.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up too.
Yeah, I have that ready for me.
It essentially stops small things from being able to get through it. Like it doesn't. Like larger things can.
You could shape the wall in any way you choose, so long as it makes one continuous path along the ground.
What's the range?
120 feet.
Yep, 120
I
feet.
feel like you could easily do a dome out of that, right?
1 foot thick, 50
Well, it has
feet.
to be touching the ground, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
50 feet long.
like a bowl.
Like around it? Okay.
Yeah, you know, like make a circle and then like just.
Well, I mean, if it's above you, is it touching the ground?
It
does have
taps
to be
it.
a
It-
wall
it-
that's
it-
around.
It has to be touching the ground. It's yeah, but I
I think it's
don't
a
think there's
wall,
enough.
not a dome.
There's enough. There's not enough, like section of wall to make a complete dome around us.
So the
because-
ship itself is about 80 feet.
I
long.
have 50 by 15 square feet.
So where do you want to put this up at?
I'm gonna put it. I mean, I will kind of arch it around us, as much as I can. But it's gonna start port side and go 50 feet up.
Okay.
And like I guess more than an
At
angle.
this point, as you kind of hit the cloud dead end, it begins to like overtake and surround you. Vision becomes heavily obscured as you are kind of like going through this. Everybody, you can see enough to see each other and people within 15, 20 feet.
Within those minute of us getting up there, I'm gonna cast that spell on me that lets me use the performance.
Alright, got it.
Yeah, I'll mark
So
that.
that's done.
And then the wind wall goes up. It says it keeps fog, smoke, and other gases at bay small or smaller flying creatures or objects can't pass through the wall. Loose, lightweight materials brought into the wall fly upward. Arrows, bolts, and other ordinary projectiles launched at targets behind the wall are deflected upward and automatically miss. And then it says like large, like boulders hurled by giants or siege engines are unaffected. Creatures in gaseous form can't pass through it.
Troko, are you still in the crow's nest?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Like, are you just doing like a full Lieutenant Dan up there?
I imagine something of that effect.
So like, yeah. So a lot of like smaller things just can't pass through the wall. Anything else basically just gets deflected by the wall. Like its path gets deflected up.
Okay. As you guys continue, I'll say, so as you reach the edge of the cloud, you see these small ice shards begin to fly through. Seeing the spell go up in the deflection, the crew immediately kind of looking towards you. Some of them begin to like hug closer to the ship as you, without complete coverage, some things are kind of flying in here and there.
Yeah.
You make it several rounds with nothing before the ice starts getting way heavier, way stronger. So it deflects the first few rounds, but at this point I need everybody to make dexterity saving throws as these ice shards are coming in pretty heavy. Wow. This crew sucks.
I'm gonna use.
Shit. Damn it. Alright. The crew sucks, but everyone else is okay.
So I'm gonna use a point of luck on mine, but I'm also.
Let's just say I hang out by Victor a lot, you know? Cool. That gives me a 13.
19.
19. Okay. Make your save. Did you do that with your plus 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, you fell.
Did we determine if the wall of force, if I cast on a ship, could it move with the ship?
I'll
think
say if
that's
it's
fair.
connected to the edge, that's fine. It'll work vice versa as well.
All right. I'm gonna do this first roll, but then after that, I'm gonna attempt to.
As the ice shards are now. These aren't necessarily the ice shards. I'm doing this because it's not the ice shards that are necessarily getting hit and deflected and that's occurring. These are bigger ones that occasionally one penetrates through, but then moreover, this is where you don't have the wind wall currently protecting the whole ship.
Gotcha. But but you made it sound like the ice is getting bigger or heavier.
Some of it is. Most of it's being deflected on the sides, and most of the crew is taken to the sides to try and minimize it, but...
Alright, then I guess I'll hold off a sec. This is just straight dex.
Mm-hmm.
23.
Alright. The two of you do. I'll roll for Victor. Maybe I shouldn't roll for Victor. Victor failed. You all take... 9 point. I'm sorry. It's 18 points of damage. Halved. You guys made it. You and Victor did.
There goes my temp health.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got one left.
As you guys continue to go through, there's still no end in sight. You guys travel a little bit further. It starts to kind of let up on the other side, but at this point, you've been traveling through this several mile long and however far deep cloud. I need another dexterity saving throw.
Do I have to?
Oh yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, great.
I'm gonna use inspiration on myself.
27. You say same thing. 9 damage to you.
I'm gonna
That's
use
gonna
luck.
be a 21.
21. Okay. Save
Okay.
Sad. It's 13.
again. Same thing. And Victor, natural 18. So he's taken 27 points of damage so far. Everyone else has taken whatever you took. You guys
Wait,
now.
what was that last round of damage?
Same thing. 18.
18. Okay,
Yeah,
so
down to 9.
9.
You made it.
Okay.
Now, as you guys burst through on the other side of this, having been in this storm for the last 20-25 minutes at least, like, it was quite a long crowd. You continued up, navigators handing home. You guys looking at Will as the kind of separate, and you kind of break free back into that light blue sky. Various purple and pink clouds ahead. It's kind of shifted a little. You do feel as there's a kind of shake to the hull, and the wind's kind of like you feel as her hand, as soon as she breaks out, you see a hand clinch and go up, and the ship begins to kind of rise a little bit as it's changing winds.
I'll look to see if anybody on the crew is badly hurt.
Looking around, you see that the captain has several like scrapes and slashes, as the wind wall was majority around the bow of the boat, and he did not leave his helm at the where he was.
I'll
Give him a mend.
Yeah, no, not a mend. I'll give him a cure wounds.
Okay.
I'll do one, and depending on how he looks, I'll do another one. So.
All right. Let me know what you get.
What's cure wounds? It's 1d8 plus spellcasting modifier.
Yeah, plus 5 for you.
No, plus 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just modifier, so it's just 5.
Your spellcasting
Ability
Yeah.
modifier.
Spell attack modifier is
Attack
proficiency.
modifier. Does it say? I'm sorry, but does it say
Oh.
attack modifier? Because those are two different things. Your spellcasting modifier is just.
Spellcasting ability modifier.
Yeah, that's 5.
Okay, never mind that. I've been doing that wrong for a while.
Both have.
No. I mean, I thought they were the same thing.
It's still
The
13.
attack modifier is your ability to hit with a spell. Your ability modifier is plus 5.
All right.
Because you're maxed out.
In that case, I rolled an 8, so 13.
Okay.
The first one.
It was a good run. Joe was probably doing it wrong too.
And that's why you guys could heal so well.
I mean, I was so prison.
I don't even think we healed that well with it. Okay.
Yeah, no. Healing's supposed to be like a kind of backboard thing. But anyway,
How's a 13 do?
it heals him pretty well. He still definitely has scrapes and slashes.
Then
But
I'll do
after
it.
you cast, he says, please check on, make sure Urva is fine. The ship can go fine. You know, anyone can steer the ship. We need a navigator to get us where we're going.
All right, then I'll go double check her.
And Urva's taken not much damage.
I'll still give her one.
Okay.
12.
And without breaking eye contact from where he was previously looking out into the head, he just kind of you just hear thank you, and then that's it. Maintains complete focus. Those appreciative of what's happening.
All right. Anybody else in the crew look bad?
Some of the crews a little bit. You see that they started to pull out some medkits and are now kind of like starting to self. They're taking the time to take a short rest and heal their wounds with the dice.
If that's the case, well, if that's the case, then I'll do my Song of Rest.
Okay. So as you begin to play, everyone takes note and gets their second hit dice, which is good to know.
Yeah. No, they get one of mine. They get 2 d10 to heal with.
Oh, even better then. They need to use 1 hit dice still though.
They have to use at least
so
one.
they still with 1 hit
But
dice they'll most of them will be able to heal enough.
But they get an extra 2d10.
Yes.
Yeah, they get to use 2 uses of song per short rest each time I play, as opposed to 1 use.
Good.
And it's a d10 right now.
Good use.
No. Yeah, sorry, level 13 it hit d10. Okay.
Okay. So you guys shift and begin to move. Still on the other side now, kind of in the distance with the clearing, you can see and make out the Borealis that still is kind of there, acting as a pin, as you've now shifted and are heading on one of the other sides to it. Not sure whether you went up or down or to the side or below. There's no relevant, as everything's in a state of motion around you.
After the Song of Rest, I'll go around the ship and see if I'll try to do my mending cantrip on anything that is appropriate.
Yeah, me too.
For the most part, with the ice shards, there's some like splintering damage here and there, scratches, but it was all slashing, piercing damage, so none of it was enough to cause extreme or really any major damage.
Mend the
at all.
worst of it.
Yeah, so going around, you are able to mend and clean up what you can on the deck itself. All right. Second leg of the journey beginning.
Roll that die. Roll that die. Roll that die.
Nat 20.
You
That could be
feel-
really bad.
I really don't know the scaling on these things.
How's a 6?
You win.
Alright. And now to maintain the navigation. Easy enough. So, the navigator sets focus on the new one. You feel the winds kind of going past you, subtle, a lot more, it's easier. The ship at this point is kind of almost swaying in the breeze as it's going.
More
The
of a gentle ocean.
mass itself has slowed up a little. The wind that was previously a gale force behind it's moved down to just a breeze as it's pushing you along. So,
Still looking around.
Hey, how's my spear? Is it pissed here or like?
I actually thought of this last game and I forgot to tell you because you weren't here. Your steer is very attuned to this place. It's very pleased to be here. This is a place of pure primordial energy.
Cool. All right, cool.
So you're in a good spot. As well as his staff, which he's not here, but is being on an airship in the middle of nowhere is a sense of adventure that it craves to have. So far it is very much you guys are doing fine with where you're at.
And I casted magic.
I'm.
Yeah, you are.
We have had Shadow
Ranger.
Dagger.
Give me a perception check as you come out the other side. The
All of us
navigator
or
is still
just-
clear. He's in the crow's nest for that fact, but if you're doing it with the spyglass, you have advantage on your perception check.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you do.
I rolled a 19, so I don't think I need it.
Are you still now? So are you looking
So
to the
it's-
distance? Is there anything either of you are looking for specifically?
31.
Just keeping an eye out. Like I said,
I
I did those.
Looking for
So if there's nothing,
Elven
then looking for something. There's nothing
Exactly.
other than clouds.
It is clouds. It is clouds, and occasionally you see like a small.
I'm looking
like,
for maelstroms.
chunk of earthen thing that's vines growing off of it. Various different elements come by, and it drifts by. The ship kind of like lowering and raising to avoid these. A very haphazardly.
I'm gonna find out.
almost
I'm gonna find
meteor
Cedric, and
thing.
I'm gonna ask him questions about his venture with the Elder Tempest.
Okay, so you find him he is currently standing, and at this point starting the second leg, and based on again the captain has relieved himself to the lower deck to sleep at this time, and
So is he heading?
he is headed over the hem.
Oh, then I'll.
Irva is still at the front, maintaining the navigation of the course.
Then I'll say. Now's probably not the time that you could tell me more about your tale with the Tempest Maelstrom, is it?
He says, "I need to keep my eyes ahead and ensure that Irva's commands are met, but like I could go into a little more detail about it, and I'll get to that in a second. As you are maintaining your course, you look through the spyglass and you start to look. Curiosity kind of gets to you a little bit, and you start to go towards the. What was you at 31, right?
Yes.
So as you're kind of scanning and you're making sure not to look into the sun with a spyglass, you do get close enough to where you start to see the glare, and you see from the sun area a small glimpse of something kind of like something dark move from like where the sun is into your spyglass a little, and then begin to kind of just sit there. And you see it's kind of trained on where you're looking. Now you don't want to look at it straight because you'll get the sun in your eyes, and but you see there's some darkened figure out by it.
I'd be like all those idiots who watched the eclipse.
It doesn't have the same
You
like
look closer.
brightness. Like it doesn't make the area brighter as much as it in itself just is glowing very heavily. There's nothing to it, no shape that can be seen. There's no different colors either. It's just this very bright yellow. But you do see some sort of figure that is nearby it. Currently, you're looking, and it looks to be just sitting where it is.
So I was like, anybody make any heads or tails of that figure out there by the big old glowing ball of sunshine?
Even so, into yourself and to everyone else, as you kind of pull from the spyglass to look, whatever it is far too off in the distance at the moment for the naked eye. You really, when you look that way, it's bright light.
Well, at least
That's
show
it.
me first. I think I see somebody on the board Noellus.
If I hear this on my stone, I'll ask Cedric. Do you know of any large dark figures that could fly themselves around the Borealis?
Says says no. He says no. We've had no run-ins with the Borealis, but we tend to stay pretty clear of it. We've done our fair share hauling things that would draw attention from there, but we're pretty good at smuggling when we need to and can keep most of that stuff on the down. He says, is there anything you guys have that would draw the attention of something from it?
No. I don't think so. Trogo, do you have anything that could draw the attention from the Borealis?
Draw the attention from the Borealis?
Yeah, they don't like evil things.
Who doesn't like the Borealis?
Yeah.
Wait, where did we get that? Oh, because it's positive.
It's plain of positive energy.
Oh, so we're getting confirmation that it's not possibly.
No, they know it. They say it's a
Oh.
very heavy rumor that this is probably the border to the plane of energy.
Got it.
Anytime they go near it. They, as he just said, smuggling goods, smuggling anything that's not good. They have the ability to mask that kind of stuff. But as you guys just sought passage, they didn't consider it being an issue.
Something to mask us?
What is it?
I have only things that would draw its attention.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think
I'm like, we've got a bag full of magic
I
items from
could
the
move-
Xanathar.
I can move
No.
further away from it.
Most of that's back at our vault. We never got into too much detail, but our
That's-
armory was done.
It's done. Yeah, we talked about that. It is done. You guys dropped off. That's why we were talking about the chart. Is you dropped off stuff. So I'd like to try and get that helmed away because again, for reasons like this, there are things that could draw attention.
I mean, most of that extra stuff, especially those like God's items, we're not carrying them around. That's like why we built the room.
But it is also important to know whether or not they're in an extra dimensional portal. As you found out with like the bandolier, there's something looking for it and tracking it.
Okay, well we do got to do some of that, but they're not with us right now.
Right. So I
No,
want
the
to
bandolier's
get
with
that.
us.
Oh, the bandoleer's with us.
It's still
Yeah,
in
I'm
his
not
bag of
leaving that in
holding.
the armory when there's literally a
Because
big
you don't
bag.
have an extra dimensional area in the armory. It would just be sitting in there.
Yeah, I forgot.
The thing already came after it once. It's in my bag of holding.
So you guys continue on your path. Occasionally, you're still looking at this figure.
Oh yeah, just make sure it's not gonna do anything.
Still, you kind of glance, and it's at this point it's moved a little bit away, and you guys feel like this has been a while. At this time, he's gone on to tell you the tale and in a lot more detail as to what the storm looks like and
I'm also
how it ran.
inciting this.
Okay, go ahead and make an insight check.
I'll use a point of luck. God damn it. Alright. That's going to be a 14.
14. Okay. Yeah, he seems to be. I mean, he's recalling it like a tale, like a seafarer would, in very much, heavy swagger. So he goes on to tell, and obviously, even you could tell some of the details are definitely blown out of proportion a little bit, but ultimately the point is the same, that it is a raging thunderstorm that existed, and through the clouds he caught the tail end of a serpent as it kind of snaked its way into the clouds before vanishing from sight. Their ship took heavy damage, and they were forced to kind of like skirt out of it the best they could. And then the storm itself shifted almost without the winds, and just kind of moved out of its path and eventually subsided and continued on whichever direction it was going as they took a death toll and everything else. And this was to one of the warships, a big ship like you had seen. It did have damage to it. That being the case, I mean, and it was all a matter of like things, but it was a heavy thunderstorm specifically, winds of torrential force, and massive lightning that seemed almost to pick its targets where it would strike down crystals. It took out the navigator almost immediately within the story, making the rest of their journey home very difficult. Ship that size has more than one navigator, so it was okay, but the navigator on duty was struck down. So, to the advisory rounds to the end of the stale, Chogo, you take a look again and you see the distance where whatever the figure was has kind of distanced itself a little bit from there as it's moved away, and you no longer have to look at the light to see it. And again, in the spyglass, you see the figure's a little bit larger now, and beside it, you see two much smaller figures.
Oh no.
Still can't make up any shapes or anything, but comparatively, you have the one and then two that are, I don't know, maybe an eighth of the size of it.
See, is the Lilith headed towards us?
It's really hard to make it out. With the light still there,
What does he have?
you see the shadows, but you don't
Spyglass?
see
What are you talking about?
figures.
Oh, items. He doesn't tell us these
I
things.
have a shadow cloak that makes me a shadow sometimes. But I mean, what am I?
He's literally got an item called like the Cloak of the King of Darkness or something that lets him blink around in darkness. What is it called?
It's a shadow cloak.
Oh, what's the name of it?
Oh, you might be talking about the ring of the shadow.
Ring of the Shadow
Ring
King.
of the Shadow King. So
It's Josh. All those the shadows are the things that live on the negative plane.
yeah, but it didn't say that it made me evil.
No, but I'm just like
It probably
It-
emanates.
I'm gonna be honest. There's definitely I'm not gonna say anything aloud as to what it does, but there's definitely parts of that like the yeah.
There's you become vulnerable to like radiant
Yeah.
damage and stuff.
No, well, and then the divinity parts of it, like channel divinity
Yeah.
affects you and something like.
But that's if you turn into a shadow. That's not just always.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure. I might have misread that. I thought that was always, but that's not the important part. So that's
Never
fine.
mind. There are no figures in the distance.
No, there still is.
they're just beelining it straight.
Still out there and on course with the winds. Are you still just keeping an eye out as you continue on?
Yeah. Just watch to make sure they're not gonna come fuck this shit up.
You guys begin. The ship's still traveling on it again, several hours, and occasionally making that. It's kind of boring. You guys are kind of trying to pass the time. The steady alert of whatever may be encroaching on the ship in the distance. You guys, for the first time after this next hour, are able to kind of make eyes of it as you look back, and now you can barely see, and the Borealis is now kind of tucked away behind clouds. And these figures that are coming closer to you, it's still at a very distance, but they definitely have moved away enough, and they're definitely getting larger, and by that logic, certainly closer. At this time, bringing it to the attention of the captain is still asleep, but of the first mate who is currently steering, Cedric kind of takes his spyglass out for the first time and kind of aims it back towards it. Give me another perception check as well. As you guys have a spyglass.
Advantage. I create a spyglass and I also look.
Okay, with advantage.
Me too.
With advantage.
Me too. Again.
With advantage, I was still a fucking 6.
My perception is 830.
18.
A 7.
What was your wisdom still? Or your perception?
Oh,
Yeah, I still
perception.
have an 18, but I rolled a 6.
Do I have higher
Yeah,
perception
that's,
than you, not Kevin?
19.
Probably have expertise in it now, so.
Oh yeah. Then you probably stand it.
So
What's your perception?
it's a plus 12.
I've got plus 11.
Oh
So close.
shit.
Without the expertise. Okay, I'm sorry. So 30,
19.
19,
18.
18.
What was
Okay.
your first mate?
So you and the first mate as well, a natural 18. So he's right around where you are.
Okay.
He's a plus 10. No, he doesn't. He's a plus 11. He's on with you.
So,
He has, so you two are having the best sight of it, kind of a look. You aren't able to really make out the smaller figures, and you guys see the figures very well. Naked Eye only shows you the big one. Seeing these other, you see two figures that seem to have larger kind of wingspans as they have whatever they are flying. However, the big creature or thing is certainly, again, maybe 8 times bigger with a much larger wingspan and much more bulbous in shape and size. Definitely in your direction. Kind of looking through, I'd say
Dragon? Worm?
Make a nature check for me. 17. Okay. You never having seen them in flight in the way that this one is coming at you and the current thing and the occasional changing of the shots. You two gather that whatever this large figure is, it definitely looks to be dragon-esque, dragonoid. You're unable to discern the color at this point yet to see what kind of dragon it might be.
Oh, it's a dragon thing.
But it is definitely flying your way.
Dragon thing. Dragon.
Our Chogo and the Crow's Nest seems to believe that it's a dragon with two buddies coming this way.
Cedric says, yes, I think I see that as well. Please, one of you go alert, Captain. And we'll say one of the crewmates who's near, because you're up on the deck as well with them, but one of the crewmates run down, kind of run in and start pounding on the door below. Here, Captain, dragon, and then after like less than 15 seconds, Captain still like throwing on like a shirt and everything, comes out of the hall, runs up to the deck, hand out for the eyeglass, kind of pulls it out, takes a look out in the direction. Nice, another natural 18. And he takes a look and he says, well, now how did this get this, where exactly did this come from?
The Borealis Radius.
He said, and he looks to the group. He looks to like kind of each one of you in your individual places, and even at you at the Crow's Nest when you're there, hearing him shout from the bottom. He says, is there any reason that we should know that a radiant dragon would be heading our way?
I have no.
I'm good.
He's a paladin.
He says, if that's the case, then we have nothing to worry about. Stay on course.
Did you hear that, Trogo?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't remember. What
if I have something evil, I'm unaware of it. He's the paladin. You're generally a good guy.
I do things that are beneficial to me.
Am I really? Is it this fucking Ring of Shadow? What?
You're the only person who has a reason to think.
You're the
This is
only
on-
person
this
that's like
is
that.
on you if you want to think about it.
Fuck!
I mean, I have that bandolier, but I don't think it's evil. I think it just belongs to somebody that's trying to get it back.
Yeah.
You did
And it's
learn
in the
it
bag
was,
of
You
holding.
learned it was made from a chained primordial
Mhm.
or chains that once held a primordial, and is capable of killing gods. And you know that they are in each dagger trapped souls inside of it. So I would say it is definitely an evil item. Whether or not that's what this thing noticed,
But that's
Well, it's also
that's
in my
the
bag of holding. Yeah, it's in my
Mm-hmm.
bag of holding, so it's not.
right? It's extra dimension.
Why are you doing this to me, man? Josh? You know?
Fucking damn it.
I have a shit ton of
I am
questions.
keeping a calm state. Like, yeah, we got nothing to fear. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a druid. I mean, not an evil one. I don't summon dead birds.
Is it the antlered helm?
Most likely. It senses you're a deer, and you guys are cool about it.
Yeah, owl bear.
Oh yeah, that's right. I got that going on.
Okay. Nice.
I feel like I should have like
You
an
do
easier
play,
time flying and not have to like use that.
Hold on.
It's just wings.
Something I forgot to point out. When we boarded the ship, I made my glamour armor make me look like Captain Hook from Peter Pan.
Okay.
Just like
Christ.
Cool with that.
like super like bright colored
Yeah.
pirate gear.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I take off my shadow cloak and my ring of Shadow King, and I put them in the bag of holding.
Okay. You stuff away those two items into your bag. You guys kind of watch it.
They don't see it. I'm up in the crow's nest.
Okay. Roll
Sleight
a,
of hand.
roll a stealth check for me.
Stealth check.
Yeah.
I get advantage on
Yes.
that.
Well, no, you're taking your cloak off.
Oh no! Oh no!
So it's just.
That's crazy. It's a 21.
Uh-oh.
Oh my god.
Passively, what's yours?
25.
22.
Okay. You guys do see as Trogo, I'll say for the sake of the fact that you duck out of the way, you see him just duck into the crow's nest. That's all I guess you see. Because at that point he's out of vision. But That's it.
I don't say anything.
Yeah.
Like just.
That's it. No big deal. Are you putting anything on in exchange, or are you just?
I'm gonna wait for this thing.
You won't be able to attune anything at this time. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just
So
waiting
you
for this
quickly take off your
fucker to
cloak,
go
shove
away.
it back in. Brain goes in. Over the course of the time, you guys continue to head on. Occasionally, you look back over the spyglass. You see this figure is flying closer. Beside it, flanking on either side, are two. Now seeing through the spyglass that you all can summon and or have. See
Oh,
the two
man.
winged creatures
We're gonna
beside
abuse
it
this.
The divas.
Angels.
are blue creatures that you've seen in the. You've seen them one other time in Mirabar during the tournament coming through the land.
Oh
A
yeah.
large winged creature, blue color, white, large angelic wings. You know them to be angels of nature, and they each have a
Almost
great
fought one in
sword
Mirabar.
across its back.
The fuck, man.
As they begin to kind of fly, they're getting closer in on the ship. You can see, just any of you can see, as some of the crew is starting to get a little nervous as these things are approaching slowly.
I'll play a little jaunty tune. How many dragons have I slain? One. How many dragons did I almost slay? Three.
So, is there anything else you guys
That's
do?
awesome.
Head on
Yeah.
course ahead. All right. Are you staying in the crow's nest as well?
Yeah. Keep my eye
Keeping
out.
ahead, you see as the dragon kind of comes by, and now in plain sight, these creatures, the two creatures on either side, the angels, are large in size, each one about 9-10 feet total in height, with a wingspan to almost double that. So they're big, and they are very quick. As you watch, as they kind of begin to kind of flank either side of the ship, coasting above at about the same rate of speed as the ship. This large, yellowish, almost tinted, glowing dragon above is just kind of sailing and is just kind of gazing over the ship. You hear one of the creatures, one of the blue creatures, yell down, "Permission to board." And the captain kind of looks up to it and says, "Please be my guest." And the creature flies down, and as it does, it lands next to the captain, now standing again, nearly twice your size and height. Its wings furl to its back as it kind of stands upright, overlooking it looks at each one of you, and then noticing you up there as well. Just seeing the group as it scans the area. Trying to think now. He turns to the captain. He says, "Flying within proximity to the Borealis, we were triggered of something you may be carrying that is directly from the plane of negative energy." Says, "Do we have permission to check your ship?" He says, "I'd rather you not, if you don't mind. We carry personal belongings. But if I know you Planetars correct, you can tell whether or not someone's lying. So, no, we don't carry anything of that sort." The creature kind of like looks down with a nod and just kind of nods at him and says, "That's fair, but would you mind if we asked anyone else on your ship?" And he says, "Please, be my guest." The creature kind of takes a step, looks towards the first mate who is standing next to him and says, "Do you have anything of evil nature aboard this ship?" He looks up to him, "Nothing." He then looks over towards you. "Do you have anything of evil nature aboard this ship?"
Nope.
I need to decide if that's a lie.
I don't think he would know.
I do not have anything evil on board this ship.
I know, but he would directly know if you're lying.
And to
Something
be
they
fair,
know.
I don't even believe anything I have is evil.
yeah.
Even the bandolier with the trap
I don't think that's evil. It was made to end slavery of primordials. That's good. That's righteous.
he looks.
Also, I didn't really think about it at all as an evil thing. I just thought it was
Thing.
a thing.
Yeah.
Alright,
I actually completely forgot it trapped souls in it.
ready?
If you want me to roll, I'll roll for
No,
it.
there is no roll for this. It's
Okay.
just like one of their abilities is like divine not divine sense. It's divine something, and it just literally says Planetarch can always tell if someone's lying. So, as he does, he turns and he looks towards the ships. He begins to step, and as he does, the captain says, "Please, I have guests aboard the ship. They have paid their fare. I do not see of a reason for you to interrogate everyone." He kind of looks up. He looks up towards the crow's nest where you're at, making eye contact. He looks back down towards the base and kind of is scanning.
I took.
He says, "Huh?"
I like just lean back, don't make any more eye contact.
Okay.
At once he looks away, like I'm just like.
Now you do. There is still, as you kind of look around too, as he looks up, there's another one still flanking the ship, as well as this dragon above you.
Yeah, I'm looking at. Me.
I really wanted to be like, oh, you know what? Hang on, and reach my bag of holding and just be like,
There's a giant dragon.
exactly.
As
kind of the security.
As he steps
It's a
down.
symbol of friendship.
You know, it's kind of fucked. It's like getting pulled over by a cop driving a tank.
Do I have permission to search your vehicle?
Yeah, I guess so.
If I say no, are you gonna kill me?
Blow up my vehicle.
The Planetar looks towards the captain and says, "If you have nothing to hide, then I don't see the issue." He takes steps down the stairs and he walks over towards one of the other crewsmates, making his way towards the front, and he says, "Do you have anything of evil aboard this vessel?" The crewmate looks up to him and, like, stammering, says, "No." The captain kind of walks towards the side in front of you, towards where the staircase descends. And where would you be on the boat? Are you up by the captain and such, or are you?
Yeah, I
gonna be...
mean, I just assumed I was around them.
Okay. Okay.
Around where
He would have asked you the same thing if you were up on top. We'll say then. So he would have asked if you have anything of evil.
No.
Okay. And then just to be clear, because it really could tell if you were lying, none of you know of anything evil on you that I don't know as the DM, right?
No.
At this point, I just assume you guys are telling the truth.
I mean,
I'll tell
I
you.
know.
Are any of my orbs scrying orbs evil?
No, if you don't know right now, then it's fine. Then that's fair. Then your character doesn't know it's evil if it doesn't know it's evil.
Yeah.
And you guys don't have anything on you as far as the other stuff goes. As far as the god stuff you left, which would include whatever evil.
Oh yeah, there's
that evil sword is. That you guys, or the book of what's it called? Is that with you or no?
Siren Shard.
Yeah. The book literally said it was evil.
I honestly don't remember. Because
Doesn't
it was not something I wanted to leave lying around. But if we had the armory built,
The armory was built.
then I feel like I would have left it in the armory.
This whole encounter is why the armory in my head came to mind as something to track. Because
Let's
I
spend
wanted
like
I wanted to know so I could look through ahead of time and be like.
Let's spend like the first 30 minutes next week just kind of figuring all
That's
that out.
When we have all 4 people here,
Yeah.
just hammer it out.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. So as he goes to the next person, he says it. You guys watch on the top as the captain kind of makes his way around the side, and you see as he kind of reaches his hand behind his back. You see an object that you haven't seen since you were in the Xanathar's Guild. As he starts to kind of pull out what looks to be some sort of larger magnum-looking handgun, and kind of like has it in his hand. You watch as like his thumb cocks up at the what's it called, hammer, and pulls back the hammer behind his back. Very like Western style looking, but it's kind of still tucked into his back, and you see just his arm, and you hear him kind of yell down to the Planetar one more time.
Who's noticing this happen?
You guys are. He says, you're definitely getting more irritated. This Tabaxi kind of like yells one more time down to him. He says, "Again, I asked you not to interrogate the people aboard this vessel. If we had anything to hide, you would have found it by now. This is the last chance I'm giving you before you're trespassing on my ship." The Planetar turns and looks towards him. And there's just kind of like a moment of like shit for a hot minute.
Oh we're about to tussle.
You guys watch as like the gun slowly kind of starts coming up from his back. The Planetar looking at him, just kind of dead eye locked, looks to him. The Planetar then breaking eye contact, looks around the group, looks up again to you, and you watch as his wings kind of unfurl. It takes a beat, and he comes and flies off towards the flanking of the ship again. As soon as he kind of begins to take off, you see as he kind of folds the hammer back and tucks it back down, being covered by his shirt. He kind of looks to the group, looks up to them. You see as the ship continues its course on there, the three beings kind of begin to slowly fall behind, still trailing you guys. And as they do, the two Planetars kind of come together, and you can see they're still following the ship, but they're having some sort of hushed conversation. Well, not hushed, as in just farther away, where you can't make out what they might be saying as the ship kind of keeps going. As you see, you continue to glide through the skies, clouds doing it. Eventually you pass through some cloud coverage. Looking behind, you don't see them following the ship at this time. It seems like you're still going and there's no major issues. Continuing.
Well, we're none the wiser, right? We don't know Chogo's got that shit, right? Like, do we?
We don't.
You seen my black cloak?
But he didn't tell us that he has the ring of the Shadow King. He just said, like,
I can teleport in the dark, guys.
Yeah.
I can turn into a shadow.
well, but we could also believe that as like, we didn't say you could turn into a shadow.
I did say that.
Oh, you did?
I did definitely say I could turn shadow.
I don't know that was an evil
When I
thing.
said it, I definitely was not thinking of what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, like
you
Peter
call
Pan
it
shadow.
bullshit, yeah. Say that he just kind of wrote it off.
100%. I thought it was just a cool like Thieves Guild thing. Like,
Yeah, I guess.
I didn't think about you tucking him in your bag of holding. So, that's good.
That's the only
I didn't know what was going to happen. I was interested to see what you were going to do, if you were going to try and have them steer the ship away and be like, listen, we need to do this. Or anything. I don't know. Okay, but that works. That was a quick way to get rid of it. All right. And then you.
That's the only because I was like,
Quickest way.
If the bandolier was in his bag of holding, that was cool. That definitely is evil. I don't know what you're thinking.
I didn't think that was. Well,
Trap souls in it.
I honestly 100% did not remember that.
What
it
was
has-
it?
I forgot it had
was
trap
the
souls,
ring,
too.
wasn't
Oh
it?
yeah.
I thought it was just made of. I thought it was just made of like some
So
sort
that
of
makes
god's.
you vulnerable to radiant stuff. That is, and the amount of like my thing with the ring is the amount of how good it is means how powerful it is means it's gonna have the ability to attract beings of
Assholes.
very good beings like that.
Does Victor just doesn't like being around me?
No, these things are like I said. These things to be where they were are pure
Ah,
energy,
yeah.
pure positive. Like, yeah, it's going to.
For the sake of it, I'm going to say that I had to have left the Siren shard in the armory
For sure.
because I definitely.
If you knew you had that on you, yeah, that book literally, you read it, and so you know its purpose is to be worshiping to an evil god.
Yeah,
So it's like, there's no.
and it's supposed to take over your mind and force you
You
to
wouldn't be
teach.
carrying that around.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I was at a time because I didn't want anybody getting their hands on it and then starting an evil cult in our town.
I already had enough troubles.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever happened with that the vampire chick? I guess we're still waiting on answers, huh?
Yeah, Calvin went
Tell
off
them
to.
to find the layer.
We did find out that Mascar actually is familiar with doing layer enchantment type magic, and so he would like to oversee or whatever the preparations we go through. They're asking a lot of questions, and I gave some bullshit answer that I don't think anybody really knows that there's a vampire here, or they might suspect it, but they don't. I don't know. They don't actually think that it's anybody that's gonna cause harm. I don't know.
So.
What's his face? The priest, I guess, knows, but
But he was even like, no, you don't have to kill it.
yeah, he said non-confrontational. He didn't want to.
So.
Yeah.
As you guys, we'll wrap up this one here for the last 5 minutes. As you guys begin to coach, you guys near the edge of this next thing, avoiding confrontation. Again, this whole journey was about 4 legs. So turning onto the 3rd leg, it is.
Josh just rolls all the worst encounters for the next 2 leagues.
You maintain a. Oh, no, you don't.
Getting pulled over by the highway patrol is pretty.
Pretty hairy.
By the Radiant Super Troopers?
I wasn't a fan. I think once we're like haven't seen them for like an hour or so, put my stuff back on.
Okay.
Do I have to read it to him because it went to a bag of holding?
Yes, you do. Because if it's more than a mile away from you, you lose attunement. And I'm gonna say when it goes into a bag of holding, it shifts planes. So yeah, you would have to reach it.
How many miles is that away?
I'd probably crawl down.
Yes.
All of them.
I'd probably crawl down to like
All of them.
some room underneath. The,
Okay.
An
It's-
infinite
Even
amount.
currently, you're
It's
low
all
in the
of the
crow's
miles.
nest if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
I can
No.
stay up there.
Okay. Well, the bottom is where the captain is. That's where people sleep at, and as they rotate shifts. So there's no real place to like hide out and do it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stay up there.
As you guys turn onto the next one, you see the clouds around kind of darken as you're getting some more darker reds and purples, some blues, occasional crack of thunder in the distance throughout. The winds begin to take onto the sails as a full blow storm like winds come. As the next leg, as we enter into, we'll start next week with the third leg, the wind's picking up. And at this time, as you kind of hit that leg and realize it, you're starting to feel a little
How long have we
tired.
been on-
Like,
how long have we been also?
it's hard to tell.
It's
With
been-
with the ups and downs and how boring it is, at times you're getting tired. The dragon event obviously like brought everyone to full circulation. People were talking and up and awake, and now you're getting to that point where you're like, I've been awake for some period of time, but you're starting to feel tired. Moving into this third leg, so definitely long rests. At a point, everything falls. At a point, exhaustion start to come in, constitution saves start to come in.
Is
things
that
like
is that what you're saying? We're doing that right now?
I'm saying we're turning on everything. This is where we're going to stop right here. Turning on to the third leg of the journey with minimum damage, minimum issues so far. So,
Whew.
that was good.
Victor will be here next week, so screw it all up.
Yeah. So that was my thing. I was like, if combat breaks out, this is perfect. We pick up with a dragon attack next week. If it doesn't break out, then we just go on with our journey, third leg. Now, I do want to show you guys one thing, though, that exists for you all that you guys would have had identified ahead of time, though have very little information on. And thus far, just to clarify things, you would have not a lot of information on. But I want to... Maybe you won't need me to see it because I can't find it. I have moved past one notebook now, and I'm on 2 notebooks for this group, so it's like...
I would
And I
figured
forget
you were
which is
further
which.
along by now.
Huh?
I would have figured you had like 4 notebooks.
It's because I do a lot of like I have 3 pages of plane of air like information, and then note taking it. So, yeah, I think for sanctity of everything, we'll pick that up next time, because it's going to create a lot of questions. So, good to go.
That I would have sold about 3 months.
Okay. In exchange for just straight gold.
Yes. Except for one thing.
I'll just do it. Okay. I'll let you know what did and didn't go through because of how much there is. Obviously, that's not like a 1 or 2 thing. It may take time, but at the same time, actually, I will bring this up now just for the sake of hearings around. I guess a rumor that I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. That wouldn't be. Oh, I know. So, while you guys are here on the plane of air, I do want to turn the end of this. Just say that there's good news. That Ladry says that your weapons are almost ready. Sorry, not your weapons, but your legendary items. That the King's Hammer has sent for you to come to Mirabar to collect them at your earliest convenience. They aren't ready yet, but they'll be ready in the next month. To come and collect them afterwards at your earliest convenience. And then upon that, he has something new that he's been working on that he would like to show you all in the form of basically they're the enchanted gems that you guys have identified and have a few of that you guys haven't learned how to properly use or modify, things like that. But he has been working on ways to do that. So that includes the box of gems that you guys would have identified over the course of 3 months. You found out what those do, but you aren't sure how to properly use them yet. All of that will come when you go meet with the King's Hammer. I do have those effects for you guys. He does as well with that say that
Fist bump.
he'd be willing to trade certain magic items in exchange for equivalent magic items for gems, as he needs to destroy magic items to create these new gems.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay.
So, let me just read this list that I have for you for the ones that you guys identified, and I literally did the same thing. So the gems you guys currently have, one, when it's in use, adds 1d6 necrotic damage, one of which gives you +2 intellect and advantage on intellect checks. One of them, you heal max hit dice, and a short rest is only 30 minutes. One of them is 2d6 against aberrations. One is +1 AC and +1d8 healing spells. One gives you resistance to poison and disease. One increases movement by 10 feet. One of them gives you lightning bolt per short rest. One of them gives you counterspell up to 20 levels per a long rest.
Like one counterspell of up to.
Correct, but it's only level 3 or less spell. It only counterspell 3 or less spell, and you can counterspell up to 20 levels of spell per day.
So if you do
you
if you
can do
counterspell-
20 level 1s or like 10 level 2s or
Bingo.
Okay.
Per day.
Like the spell like countered level or the.
It's the counterspell spell, so it costs you a reaction to do, and it's literally just
I'm saying
counterspell.
if I cast counterspell level 3, I have 17 more
Yeah.
charges, or if I counterspell a spell at level 5.
No, it's I'm sorry, it's the opposite way. You can only counterspell with that item. You can only counterspell first, second, or third level spells.
Oh, it just fails on everything I have?
Yeah, you can't even counterspell a higher level spell with it.
But you can counterspell like 3.
But the thing is, I never know what the level of spells being cast.
I mean, you might. You might.
Certain things, I give you guys credit if it's something that's a spell you always cast, something you recognize. Because in my head, like the way I kind of play it out is incantations are the same like a spell has an incantation, kind of like in Harry Potter or Wingardium Leviosa. If you hear that, you know what's being cast, so you have the ability to counterspell that spell.
Yeah, but they can cast Chromatic Orb at
It's true.
5th
It's
level.
always a gamble, but that's why it's just an innate thing that you'd be able to do. You know,
Okay.
it's a bunch of free counterspells. If you
No,
want.
I agree. I'm just making sure I get it cleared up.
One of them is +2 to charisma, advantage on death saves. One of them is advantage on initiative. You can't be surprised, and you can see invisibility. One of them is you remove any alignment, ailment, or heal full once per a long rest. You can only use that on yourself.
It's pretty good.
So you guys have
So
to figure
we'll
out
figure
how
out
those. I know you'll learn from him how to and what those can go into, how you move them around, and this will be kind of an aspect towards later game items and itemization.
I'm turning my banjo into the most legendary item there